A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have a company wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed the world. The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, the commencement of week 4 of term 1 of 2026, or 1914 for our Queensland audience. That is the venue. It's Donington Park in the UK. First leg of a European doubleheader tonight. Then we head to the home of the Olympics, Italy, to the Monza combined circuit for Waste Options GT3. Waste Options Monday Night Motorsport, our open wheel tin top doubleheader, and it starts with sprint racing in Super Formula Light on the national circuit as well. There's the lay of the land. Cloudy, misty sort of day at Donington Park, very lightly wet circuit. Race server a little bit ahead of itself, but that's okay. First time Queensland's been ahead for anything, really, quite frankly. 11:30 local server time. That equates to, in the current realm of things, about 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time, given the 11-hour time difference at this time of the year. 34 km/h winds in a westerly direction, 18 degrees the ambient, 18 on track, and very lightly wet conditions. 3.16 kilometres this course. This is the grid. Marcus Watson and Craig Bond on the front row. There's your championship standings, folks. You have a look at them. I'll run you through the grid because we've only got a minute here before we're going to be getting going. Marcus Watson and Craig Bond on the front row. Are you kidding me? Sam Chapman and Ryan Jones, the second row. Guy Leach, Brendan Grosh, the third row. Chris Head, Matt Bailey, the fourth row. Adams Funslow and David Baz from row 5. From 6, it's Dylan Rollo and JD Dent from 7. Gary Cousins and Adam Proctor from 8. Eduardo Zamora and Daniel Yeaman from 9. Scott Hasler and Brad Keck. Got to not trip over that one, don't I? John Baldwin and Jackson Fischler from 10, Luke Brooker, Pete Matson from 11, Kevin Wakefield alongside Edward Rollo on the 12th and final row of the grid. And we are all boxed and ready, all 24 of them ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen, just waiting for Bond and Chapman to line up now. General consensus is, because it's very lightly wet, these guys are going to unleash on dry tyres. About a minute, about 60 seconds is where we're heading with regards to lap speed. In dry conditions. So 60 seconds a lap, 10 laps for this opening heat, 15 for the second. Wait and see how it all plays out. Off, racing in the United Kingdom, Monday Night Motorsport underway. 3 wide further back. Orbit drop there. Oh, wow. Big shunt, 2 gone. That's an enormous moment. Adam Proctor's caught up in that. So too JD Dent and Pete Matson. Oh, my goodness. Don't adjust your sets or touch your dials, ladies and gentlemen. We are on about 8 minutes earlier than we're supposed to be this evening. Oh, spinner! Chris Head, Matt Bailey. More trouble over the far side of the circuit. Off and written off. Dylan Rollo and Guy Leach. My goodness. And that's the problem, isn't it, Adam Wavis? Those little puddles forming on the left-hand side of the circuit, they're just enough to be spicy. They're a death trap waiting to happen.
And from experience, the Super Formula Light isn't really the most grippy car, and as soon as there's any moisture around, it gets very, very slick, very, very fast. They have some aero and usually but they're more reliant on the mechanical grip. So obviously, once there's moisture around, these little things don't like it too much. So they are a bit of a handful.
They are indeed. JD Dent, Dylan Rollo to pit lane. Pete Matson, Guy Leach and Adam Proctor will follow, because they've got mechanical black flags next to their name. In fact, Adam Proctor has only just got back going. And Guy Leach as well. Off goes Bondy. Had 2 wheels in the dirt. He loses out to Sam Chapman. And Jones in the grass as well. Jones is going to drop out the top 10 there, down to 16th. Plenty of trip-up hazards here at Donington. Great racetrack, particularly for these cars, but not without potential for drama, and we've already seen that. Plenty of runoff area, but that's no good when you're crashing on the actual bitumen and getting cleaned up on the bitumen. Many walking wounded in this opening race. JD Dent and Dylan Rollo had nowhere to go off the start. They've been on the tow road for a minute and a half now. This is how it happened. JD Dent. Oh, yeah, movement. It was the Orbit Drop Bear car. Now, who was that? Dan Yeaman? Is he on the Orbit Drop Bear car on the grid? Is he not? Was that him that moved across? Let's have a look. Watch Yeaman here, folks. Watch him weave his way through. From 16th on the grid. 1, 2, 3. Little movement there. Bang. Oh. Something about the entree slot that doesn't necessarily work for Yeaman. Brad Keck off the road right now. This was Pete Matson's view of that carnage up ahead. For old Pistol Pete. Had nowhere to go and just got slammed into. Absolutely poleaxed. Now Jackson Fischler showing off the road. Here's some more highlights. This was Guy Leach. Remember, this was the incident over at turn 5. Oh, happened in front of him. Yep. Bang. 10-second penalty for the 985. The contact was 7:01 and 18. 985 is Dan Yeaman. That's not surprising. Dylan Rollo was the unlucky one here. Had nowhere to go and just became a moving target. He did everything right, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work when cars are spearing across in front of you, in your peripheral. You've got no reaction time whatsoever. That was Kevin Wakefield. So Watson, Chapman and Bond, the top three at the moment. Bondy, the fastest over the race, 101.532. We're still replaying incidents from lap 1, ladies and gentlemen. That's how chaotic it's been so far. JD Dent back out there a lap down. Also a lap down is Dylan Rollo. Adam Proctor about to go a lap down. This was what happened to Bondy when Chapo found his way by, all on his own. Bondy took too much curb on the outside, and that was Ryan Jones spinning behind them. Bondy was just a bit too deep into the corner, unsettled on the white line on the curbing, and that was that. 5th minute of play, race 1 of 2, sprint round 2 of 5 for Super Formula Light. There goes Brendan Grosh. There goes Brendan Grosh. Now, some good news and some bad news for you, ladies and gentlemen. We're not live again on Thursday night, but we will be bringing you Thursday night motorsport, just times and details to be finalised and confirmed. The other point is, well, Eduardo Zamora all out of shape. Because I've now got some clear Wednesday nights in my schedule, just while we're waiting to, there goes Gary Cousins. I think Gaz is content to jump on the tow rope at this point in time.
I think Gaz got Demi trying to avoid that one.
Yeah. I think so. Now this was Yeaman again.
Oh, he got rear-ended.
Yeah, he got smashed into the right rear corner. Yep. And unfortunately, he just cracked into the tyre wall at that point. It was Brendan Grosh.
It was.
Yep.
That's because
poleaxed him.
It's like Gary's just got a little loose on the water, it lifted, and then Brendan's got around the water and got the power on, and it's the wrong place, wrong time.
Indeed it was. Let's go back to the battle for 5th now. It's Dan Yeaman on Craig Bond now. Remember, Yeaman's got a 10-second invoice coming his way. It's going to drop him all the way down to 13th at this point. But that is only on corrected order with some adjustments made. Oh, no! Scott Hasler and David Baz have come together. They're both in the dirt. Hasler's tried to reverse. He's gone straight into the path of Baz, and they're both in the kitty litter. Action aplenty. Action aplenty. And just remember, folks, we invert the top 10 for the second race. Oh, David Baz was already out of shape and all crossed up, and poor old Scott Hasler had nowhere to go. He was a bystanding, innocent passenger in all of that. Gary Cousins still on the tow rope on pit road. Adam Proctor now off track and going a lap down. Ryan Jones is off track again, this time at turn 1. So yes, for the interim, just whilst we are running on a stick-thin sort of skeletal setup, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be here on Wednesday night jumping in with Dan Yeaman. So Yeaman's going to drop out of play-by-play into the analyst seats and also do the button pushing, director and producer at the same time. He'll do the, what could we call that? The pad, the production, the assistance of the commentary, and the direction, PAD, pad. I like that. That might stick, actually, that terminology. So 7.5 minutes gone, 2.5 to go. This was Dylan Rollo. Curb. Yep. Car 08, loss of control. Oh, Jackson Fischler, keep it together. 08, is David Baz, yes. David Baz. So got himself a 10-second penalty for taking Scott Hasler for a ride into the kitty litter. Dan Yeaman's now up into 5th. Craig Bond is 4th. Matt Bailey showing off-road for the 2nd time tonight. Marcus Watson, Sam Chapman, Chris Henn, Craig Bond, the top 5. And Luke Brooker in there in 10th spot, holding onto the invert pole. Not anymore. Ryan Jones straight up his outside to the inside, and Jonesy has the invert pole in his grasp. It won't show us 10th on the finishing sheet, of course. It'll show us 9th with Yeaman's penalty. Oh, actually, no. No, not at this point. Yeaman has actually put more than 10 seconds between himself and Jonesy. Zamora. Eduardo Zamora down the outside of Matt Bailey to the last corner. Whoa! He's gone. He's lost out of that one completely, Eduardo Zamora. He did well to gather it up and keep it straight, but he washed off enough speed to let Brooker, Bailey, and also Brooker and Jones all through. Yeaman is still giving Bondi the hurry up. Marcus Watson is 2.5 to good on Sam Chapman. Watto was a bit salty last week after the fuel save masterclass of Yeaman and Chapman. Really hoping for redemption tonight. Is there more rain on the way in this forecast, Adam? I'm not sure for race 2. Have we got any on the way or not?
Not sure about race 2, but there was nothing on the radar for race 1, so we'll have to have a look once we get the new setup.
Last lap board in the air, and Pete Matson's off the road. So to Gary Cousins. Yeah, once we switch to that section of the survey, I understand what you're saying.
Advance the time, yeah.
Marcus Watson, Sam Chapman, 3 seconds to the good. Here's Edward Rollo under pressure from Jackson Fischler going to 15th. Down the back straight, final time. Actually, these guys have still got a lap to go. They're still squabbling for another lap yet. Can they keep it clean? There's your race leader. His name is Marcus Watson. It will be victory number 4 of the campaign of the term for him. Sorry, victory number 3, I should say. And Marcus Watson gets the job done in the opening sprint race here at Donington Park. Chapman in for 2nd, Chris Henn 3rd, Craig Bond in for 4th. Yeaman will go 5th at the line, but that will become 7th on corrected order.
So I'm pretty sure Bailey's got damage because he obviously hasn't had to pace this race. I think he's got some damage from that first lap incident, but he's managed to hold on to the invert.
Bunslow, Grosh, Jones, Brooker and Bailey make up the top 10. You're right, he will get the invert pole. Amazing for Dan Yeaman to only lose 2 spots in all that. John Baldwin's off the road. He drops down to 19th. Adam Proctor's come home in 20th, the lap down. Jody Dent, Gary Cousins also showing a lap down in 21st and 22nd. Kevin Wakefield's going to grab 15th from Edward Rollo. Ray Keck and Guy Leach. Photos all round. 14th went to Jackson Fischler. There are penalties coming for Yeaman and Baz. Yeaman, of course, only penalised 10 seconds, will only drop 2 spots to Funslow and Grosh. He'll slot in ahead of Ryan Jones. Oh, here we go. 2-minute warm-up. Rain is back at Donington Park. So the second race we anticipate will be a little bit slower than the first. Marcus Watson, 3rd race win of the campaign for him in Super Formula Light. His 5th podium finishes from as many starts. Chapman, Henn, Bond, Yeaman, Funslow, Grosh, Jones, Brooker and Bailey on provisional order. Just over the page, we can confirm for you that you had to get 75% of the race distance covered there, ladies and gentlemen. All bar Dylan Rollo will be classified in all of that. Watson had a 21-point lead on Dan Yeaman coming into this round of the championship. He'll have extended that now. 179 played 158. Scott Hasler 139, 136 for Ryan Jones and 110 for Sam Chapman. We didn't get to run through that. Off the top. Massive night tonight for us. Monza combined next stop, of course, on the tour for GT3. Yeaman and I are here with you Wednesday night from Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. I'll pack my snow jacket for that one. I'm feeling the cold already. exactly, Chris Whitaker. You're right. It's like watching the XLs and just waiting for the rollover, especially now with that forecast on the way. Oh, boy. Hello to you, CW. Good to have you on board, mate. Look forward to catching up in due course. And Watson fans being encouraged to fire up as well by the life of Aaron there on YouTube. Good to have you tuning in. Be it on Facebook or YouTube, they are the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, all made possible thanks to Waste Options, Trophy AI, Disruptive Labs, the great people at merch.tgsrc.inc, and of course Flash Graphics. It is absolutely tipping down. It's tipping down here at Donington Park. So that answers the question that yes, we are expecting it to chuck down for the balance of the night, and it'll be a slip slide sort of affair here for race 2. Warm up done. Let's get on with it. I wouldn't imagine they'd need to save fuel for a 15-minute race, Adam Lavis.
No, I think I'm pretty sure the sprints are straight sprints for both of them, so I don't think there's any fuel saving in the sprint rounds.
Only in the 30-minute races like what we saw last week.
Yeah, the 30 and the final 45, there'll probably be some sort of saving of some sort.
Bondi earlier chucks me a throwaway line. He's doing his social media banner reminding everybody when they're on 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, and he's like, progressive and civilised time, you wouldn't know what that is. I said, you're absolutely right. Something that this state doesn't do very well. He's just trying to bait me, the youngster from Gundagai. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, moderately wet. That tells you everything you need to know. 17 degrees the track temp, 18 the ambient. Northwesterly winds 33 kilometres an hour, so they're strong, and 95% humidity. 16% chance of rain, apparently. Well, we've already got that. Matt Bailey, Luke Brooker front row. Ryan Jones, Brendan Grosh second row. Adam Funslow, Dan Yeaman from row 3. Set to go now. Green and away. Hold your breath. Those puddles are a lot bigger. The circuit damp. The run towards the first corner critical. Bailey's got the jump on the inside. Taking Jones with him. Jones is up to second. Have a look at the spray. Oh dear. I worry about the back end of the train there and the poor visibility they'd be contending with. Bondi had 2 wheels in the dirt. Absolutely lashing down here. We're right on board with Marcus Watson. Trying to find his way by Chapman, then Bond, then Hen. Plenty of movement early on. Luke Brooker up 4 spots. Dan Yeaman up 1. Off goes Pistol Pete Madsen. 15 minutes ahead of us here. Watson struggling to find a way through. Yeaman is 5th. 7th in the opening race. 5th at the moment. There goes Scott Hasler without the assistance of David Baz. Bailey, Jones, side by side at the start-finish line, and Jones is going to lead the way. Getting a push along here from Brendan Grosh down on the inside, but Grosh unable to capitalise just yet. Grosh, of course, a nice little recruitment for DPR. Yeah. If you watch the 1993 European Formula One Grand Prix, that's the reference to 1993 flashbacks with these conditions. But then again, there's been a few British Grand Prix since then at other venues, like Silverstone, for instance, that have had a very similar sort of impact. Uh-oh, Watson's off the road. Marcus Watson, the championship leader, back to 12th. The charge done. And with that, it may well be the end of his podium run.
It's just still early in the race.
Yeah, and it's only 8 seconds to the leaders, but still, that's a lot for him to reel in, rather than obviously just being up there with the pointy end from the outset. He's given them a head start. He's given himself an invoice. Car 233, Kevin Wakefield, 10-second penalty. Contact with Pete Madsen on the opening lap. Those two guys back out on the racetrack after getting fast repairs. Have a look at the spray. Safety car on standby as well. Hasn't been deployed yet, but the lights are on. I like that. It's just sitting there in anticipation. Oh no! There goes Brendan Grosh! Now, was that a result of aquaplaning or something else? Henry Chapman goes through. So does Bond. Off goes Rollo, off goes Keck. Hasler the fastest lap of the race last time around, 1:11.682. So all of this changes the game, doesn't it? Changes the narrative. Oh. Because if they're doing 70 seconds a lap, they're only doing 5 laps every 6 minutes. So 5 and 10 gets you to 12. So all of a sudden you're only looking at a 13 lap race instead of a 15. That's the difference between wet and dry for you. This was what happened to Pete Wakefield. Moved across, clouded Pete, who went exit stage right and into the wall. Peck. Oh, on the aquaplane. Plenty of those puddles to trip up on, Adam Lavis, and these guys are going to earn their keep here. The bigger the puddle, the more chance of aquaplaning, obviously. Edward Rollo doesn't help when you lock up the rears either.
No, it's very easy to do around here, especially with these puddles. And as I said earlier, this car is not the most stable in the wet, so it is very easy to do.
Look who's gone through to second. Look who's gone through to second. Dan Yeaman is second. He's got by Ryan Jones. He's held off Chapman. Chapman's dropped 5 seconds here. Hasler dented Fischler for all the foot off the road. This is Yeaman going to second. Hasler on his own, and what about the evasive action from Yeaman? Hasler on the aquaplane. On the standing water. Wow-wee.
Came into the lead.
Down the inside of Matt Bailey, down the back straight. That was beautifully done. That was the end of lap 4. So we're on lap 5 now. Yeaman leads from Bailey and Jones. Oh, big crash further back. Big crash further back. Jackson Fischler's escaped, but there's a few others that haven't. They're all limping back onto the road. Watch this. They're all just going to, the 4 of them. There's one. Bailey, Yeaman and Bond. Bailey, Yeaman and Bond have come together. That is live as well. That was Fischler's excursion.
So
they had 4 of them off the road.
And they were all
now
separate.
have a look at the leaders. So Bondi's gone on his own. Exit stage left. Goodbye. Bailey's dropped out of the race. Yeaman's dropped off the road. Have a look at this. All through the water. Now, Bailey's gone separately to all of that. And Ryan Jones has gone to the lead. 6 seconds up on Sam Chapman. He'll feel as though he's... Oh, he clipped Yeaman on the way through.
He's free. Broken suspension.
He didn't get away from that one scot-free. And as a result of that, Matt Bailey is on the tow rope and out of business. Done.
Here's Marcus Watson's one from earlier in the... I reckon he's very active playing a puddle up here. Yeah.
Yep, right there. It's easy to do in these conditions. Zamora and Funzlo to pit lane. Funzlo with a mechanical breakdown flag. Baz is 8th. Bond is 9th. What might have been for Bondi. Into the weeds goes Luke Brooker. We love it when it rains. Not necessarily because what it does to the race, but because it gives us no shortage of highlight reel content. It's a bit of a snore at the moment because Ryan Jones is 6.5 seconds to the good. And he'll feel as though he's owed one, Jonesy. He was only 8th across the line in race 1. That was a good recovery after running off the road. So he'll feel as though this result is overdue, but it'll be nice to see his name on the winners list for the first time. 2 thirds and 2 sixths going into this round, then an 8th, and now it looks like he's on track for a W. Chris Henn, 4th at the moment, chasing Yeaman. Yeaman a second off Chapman. Chapman 6 seconds away from Ryan Jones. They're not going to catch him at this rate. 7.5 minutes gone, 7.75 minutes gone. Half race distance for you here. Don't forget all the action from Milano Cortina continues tonight. on Nine's Wide World of Sports, and of course Stan Sport as well. If you're into your Winter Olympics, how could you not be? It's been fantastic viewing so far. Although that being said, I have been switching off when they've gone to the figure skating. The curling's been great, the hockey's been great, the luge terrific, and that was JD Dent. Unfortunately, he's got a real grimace look about him tonight, JD Dent.
On the right hand side of the car, the other side, he's got like a half delivery.
Yeah. Oh, he's gone all BAR, has he? From 99 to 2000.
No, it's just it's like a split livery coloured wise. It's like grey and purple and something silver or what.
This all of a sudden gets interesting if Ryan Jones makes a mistake of any sort. Yeaman's got through on Chapman. Bottom of the screen, Yeaman on Chapman, goes to second, and there's Watson going to fifth on the inside of Hen. Watto back to P5. He's 5 seconds off Chapman and Yeaman. Yeaman is holding on a second for the moment. Watson needs to get Chapman or Yeaman or both to keep his podium run intact. He's got 6 minutes to go. Fastest car on the racetrack, Dan Yeaman, 109.457, and it's hosing down in Great Britain. That says 16% wet. I'm not buying that.
I think it's like either the chance of rain or the chance or the participation level or something. I'm not sure exactly what it stands for. I think it's more just the chance of rain. I think it's the amount of rain. I think it's the chance of rain.
Copy.
But actually, that's probably more how much is falling. I think it's a weird iRacing one that I haven't actually learnt exactly how they've defined it. Because it'll be
Brad Keck off the road as well, mate. Just quickly.
Because it'll be 0 even when the rain starts to fall, so it's a bit weird.
Yeah. Whoa, Yeaman keeps it together and takes off. He's reduced that gap to Jones to 5.2 seconds. Off goes David Baz at turn 1. Now there might have been contact here. Oh no. That was Bondi, wasn't it? Yep. No comment, Your Honour. No comment. Scott Hasler in 9th at the moment. Guy Leach has got behind Brendan Grosh. Grosh has lost out to Leach and Watson. Watson has lost out now to Grosh. They're chopping and changing. The yo-yo. Pendulum. Wow. Jones, Yeaman, Chapman, Grosh, Watson. Gets by Grosh. Now goes out of his shooter, Leach. Spin. Round he goes. Brendan Grosh.
And Watson was off himself there, so Guy Leach has gone both as well, recovering from their own little incidences.
Yeah. Just awful racing, says Pete Madsen. You've had no luck tonight, Pistol. Hope you're enjoying yourself anyway. And hopefully better luck in GT3, my friend. Good to have you tuning in, albeit briefly and albeit far too soon. Far earlier than we would have liked to be chiming in on the broadcast there, of course. Up the hill we go. Hasler in 8th, chasing Chris Hen. Ryan Jones the leader, 3.75 seconds. 108.561, Dan Yeaman the fastest lap of the race. So Yeaman's not going down without a fight here. 3 minutes to go. 2 laps next time by the line. Wakefield off the road now. So too Keck. Simultaneously, although Keck is 1 lap up on Wakefield. And cutting a lot more on the circuit than Wakefield too, just quietly. So yeah, we'll have to have a look at the Bond and Baz incident after the fact. Live race control will alert us to anything if there is anything to report or any invoices to hand down. Whoa, gather it up, boys. Chris Hen, 7th. Not the race he would have been hoping for. That is Dylan Rollo in 15th. Jones's lead has been slashed inside 3 seconds now. 2 to go. Guy Leach riding on board with him. Watson's still sitting 5th at the moment, and I think the chance of a podium has now gone begging for him. He's 8 seconds behind Chapman. So that podium run looks like it's about to end. A Bondi, a 4th and a 6th, but still subject to confirmation that, because the results as they cross the line will be provisional until all the race control adjudications have been handed down. That's John Baldwin off the road, rejoining. Great commitment, but a real stinker of an affair. I can't help but agree with Pete Matson. Not the best racing conditions, but a good test for these drivers, and a good spectacle, I guess, for those of you at home who want to tune in and appreciate what these guys can do behind the wheel when they can stick it on the racetrack and stay. Oh yeah, there it is. 10-second penalty for avoidable contact on David Baz. Bondi's been invoiced. Bondi's been slugged. That's going to hurt too, because it's going to drop him 2 spots. So we're going to call that the Dan Yeaman effect in all of that. And Edward Rollo's got a black flag next to his name as well. And he's off the track as well, which won't help matters. So too is Dylan Rollo. Final lap, Ryan Jones on his way home. We're going to join the winners list in Super Formula Light. A list that already includes Marcus Watson, Dan Yeaman and Sam Chapman will now include Ryan Jones for simrigs.com DPR. Masterful drive this. The best place to be was at the head of the field, away from all the garbage. Out of the mist, out of the spray, out of the action. Oh no, he spun it. There goes the gift that was begging. There goes the chance of victory. He snatched it from the jaws of defeat. Can you bloody well believe this? And Dan Yeaman will come through and sweep up the pieces and say thank you very much. I'll have the 2nd win of the season. Thanks for coming. What the hell? Jones will go 2nd. Chapman 3rd. Guy Leach and Marcus Watson. Here's Hasler on the inside of Bond. Hen will go 6th. Hasler's going to come through for 7th. Bondi to 8th. But it will be 9th on corrected order. He's got 10 seconds on Brendan Grosh, but not on Adam Proctor. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Ryan Jones. Unbelievable. And it was all the aquaplane. It was all on his own. That's the worst part. Let's have a look at it again. Watch Dan Yeaman's viewpoint of this incident. Wowee. You wouldn't fair dinkum read about it, would you? Bondi's going to jump in and have a chat with us, and I'm looking forward to that. John Baldwin's there, having crossed the line. And Dan Yeaman, out of the clouds, from nowhere. Got a 10-second invoice earlier in the night himself. Bondi knows what that's all about. And has come through and cleaned it up on the final lap. 5.8 the winning margin. Not a fair reflection of how dominant Ryan Jones had been for 14 3/4 minutes of that. But you've got to finish it off. And we're halfway through cheering him home. It's not a commentator's curse when he can't hear you, folks. We were looking forward to that. We were looking forward to, seeing his praises, cheering him across the line, and then what was going to be a wonderful opportunity to catch up with him and celebrate and toast success. Well, that now goes to Dan Yeaman. Car number 207, Marcus Watson gets a 5-second penalty. That matters very little because he'll stay 5th. There are the results. Yeaman, 5 seconds. Dear. Well done, Jonesy. Despite the fact that you've had no luck whatsoever tonight. At 5.8 seconds, and he was 4 clear of Chapman. Leach in for 4th, another 5 seconds back. Watson with that 10-second penalty goes nowhere. Chris Henn stays 6th. Scott Hasler 7th. Bondi will drop down to 8th. Adam Proctor will go, to 9th. Adam Proctor will go 8th. Bondi to 9th, and then Brendan Grosh to 10th. Baz, Baldwin, Zamora, Brooker, Rollo, Dent, Rollo, and then Keck, Wakefield, and Cousins. Although everyone below Wakefield will be classified a non-finisher. And that includes Funslow, Fischler, Matson, and Bailey. Are you kidding me? What the hell? Oh my goodness gracious me. The safety car wasn't called upon tonight. Probably a good thing. It would have spun out too, given how bad the race conditions were out there. What you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, is the replay of the sprint race from earlier, the first race, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that's because we're already loading into our Monza GT3 server, but we need something to keep you entertained in the meantime. Adam's got a couple of things that he needs to amend and adjust there on the Monza combined circuit, ready for GT3. I can't believe that. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. So too, I'm sure, are you, Dan Yeaman. Snatched that one out of the clouds. You had the pace on Jonesy, but he had track position and he had time on his side. And then all of a sudden, the story of the night, which was puddles, water, moisture, aquaplane, and it brings him undone. And you come through and sweep up the pieces. What would have been 4 different winners in 6 races becomes 3 in 6, and you nab your second. Well done.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky in that feature race tonight. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan thought he was in a safe spot, or he just tried something fractionally different, and yeah, got caught out. But I had exactly the same moment, the whole hairpin. I thought the track conditions had changed, and so I went for a part of the track that had been death on the warm up and watched everyone else die on it there. And lo and behold, I died as well when the car aquaplaned mid corner. So yeah, very lucky in that second race. I do need to just make reference to race 1 as you're showing it here, and apologise to Adam and JD directly, as well as the others who were then affected in the follow-up. Just, yeah, after getting a good launch, then just didn't look in my mirrors whilst trying to press forward and keep the foot 100% pinned. So, yeah, very much due the penalty that Race Control issued for that one there. And yeah, hopefully that's a lesson and a reminder not to make that kind of mistake again in the future.
Weather conditions that we normally synonymously associate with the United Kingdom, though, mate. So it says a lot about the challenge and the trickiness of wet weather and these cars, that invoice that you got from Race Control, and it's nice to hear that you're not going to argue the point, was actually only going to inevitably cost you 2 positions. I find that astonishing, but I mean, I guess that's testament to just how much of a challenge it was for everybody else, along with how fast and how much speed you were carrying in those conditions as well.
Yeah, I mean, in that first race, there was a lot of pace to be had, as we saw from Marcus and those who started at the front and ran at the front. And so, yeah, I got quite lucky there at one point that we went from being probably going to lose 7 or 8 positions off the start, off after the penalties as applied post-race, to only losing 2, just by keeping it on the straight and narrow whilst still finding some pace. So in many respects, whilst it wasn't as much of an objective challenge as the feature race was there with all the rain tonight, it also is a challenge in its own kind, because it's the challenge of finding your limits and being able to stay within them and not overdrive the car into the wet.
And suffice to say, I mean, the goalposts are Marcus Watson at the moment, and it was 1 for 1 tonight, in the sense that you grabbed the honours over him in race 2, but he had your measure in race 1, and I think he still gradually extends the lead. So the task of trying to reel him in becomes even more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, championship will be what it'll be. This, I think I get to count this as the first drop round for me for the season, and likewise, I think same for Marcus. So, like if we start talking that level of detail with that, yeah, might come out still roughly even on that one. But yeah, he'll have eked out slightly more than me because of the fact that his feature result wasn't as bad as my sprint result at the end of it all. And he picked up bonuses in the sprint. I picked up bonuses. So yeah, it all evens out really at this stage, I think, give or take a point or two. So that's nice, I guess. But at the same time, I can only commit on a week-by-week basis. Championship can't really be a part of the way I approach the racing.
WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca is the next stop. Another sprint round, mate. Back-to-back sprint rounds. Then we go to back-to-back 30-minute affairs, which I know you and Chapo will be looking forward to after last week's result when you pulled the trump card on everybody. But immediate thoughts on Laguna Seca. Should we see you on the grid there?
I mean, look, it's going to be a track that should suit these cars pretty well, at least from my understanding of it in the dry. We're going to have plenty of good opportunities to get some moves done in that first half of the lap, and of course the corkscrew and the last corner. And there are going to be a lot of sections where those of us who can get the speed out of the car are going to really find some time in a few spots. That'll perhaps be a little out of the ordinary, or otherwise just fine speed that'll push them forward quite nicely. So yeah, look, from a technical perspective, that should be one car versus the track should be good. I guess how it'll race, that's another story altogether, though, mind you.
Indeed, and I guess we were briefly touching on it before all hell broke loose here earlier, mate. A little bit of housekeeping of our own. You and I, which I'm looking forward to, get to team up on Wednesday nights for the foreseeable, just until we can build the crop of talent in our pool here. It's a little bit skeletal, our office at the moment in the GSRC broadcast booth, mate, but I'm looking forward to Wednesday night. The legends and the supercars, and they're on somewhat familiar territory.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be, looking forward to that bit of racing to come our way this week, bringing it back to Australia with the Bend. And, well, in that case, yeah, I'll have to hand over the primary duties to you, then let you do most of the shouting and focus on clicking some buttons by the sound of it.
Well, that's exactly right, because our fearless leader here, Adam Lavis, has been chomping at the bit to go and have a steer, and I'm looking forward to him doing just that. And obviously, he and I will continue to do Thursday nights on delay until we can fill that little gap in the offering as well. But no, looking forward to that, mate. And the other thing as well, how did you pull up after shortchanging yourself last week on a few hours sleep, please?
Yeah, look, end of the day, not too shabby. Obviously, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, the more sleep so you can stay focused, the better. And I think there were a couple of moments there where you might hear some drift in the call. So one of those occasions where it's be good to come at it with a slightly sharper, fresher mind. Annoyingly, a lot of my work this week is 9, 10, 12-hour days, but will suffice. It's a 9-hour day on Wednesday. We can work with that. And it's normal hours too, so I don't have to do anything crazy to prepare for it.
Excellent stuff. Jumping in the GT3 for Monza combined, or parking it for the night?
Well, I see I have 27 minutes apparently to get in the sessions.
You do. You've got plenty of time.
You know, and I've got a late start for work tomorrow morning as it happens.
This is looking better and better.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be like my one and only start in GT3 for the season based on the way things have gone so far, and it's going to be one of the more interesting choices of track to do so in, but, you know, I might be tempted to have a steer.
All right, well, we'll let you go and contemplate that. Well done on the win again, mate. Very nicely done. Looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table when we get to Laguna Seca, and looking forward to working with you on Wednesday night as well. Go well for the rest of the night and the rest of the week.
Cheers, Zach. And if I don't get a chance to come back and say hello afterwards, shout out to everyone at Orbit Drop Motorsport, iLivery's Revolution Race Gear as the lead partners, and the rest of the sponsors and brands on the car that help make it all what it is.
Indeed. There he is, Dan Yeoman, ladies and gentlemen. Very nicely done. Stealing one victory from the jaws of defeat, and can thank Ryan Jones for that for the rest of the term. He's already gone. Bondi and Chapo standing by. I'm going to go to Chapo first. Rain, go away.
Oh, here we go. I found the right button now. It was tough. It was tough in the rain. I knew it would be. Like, I do wonder if we could consider it. Look, we run a medium setup for these cars in this as our fixed, which, you know, like obviously can suit a lot of tracks, but yeah, once it gets wet, these cars are already super twitchy. So once I saw how wet it was, I was like, okay, there's going to be a lot going around at turn 1, and I think that's what happened. We were unbelievably slow in those first few laps, so very much a survival tactic for that race, and I got a bit of damage early on as well, so was happy to be where I was, and yeah, then saw Dan absolutely roasting up behind me, so he was unbelievably fast in those conditions, so credit to him, he did deserve that win, even if it did come from a bit of an error elsewhere. That speed was unbelievable. So, but yeah, no, it was tough. That first race was pretty much what we practiced in, so it wasn't too bad, and it was a good battle back and forward with Marcus for a lot of it, and was with him for most of it, and then just had a massive swapper out of the final corner and some of the final 2 laps. So, you know, that was that. So yeah, we'll take it. Good points.
Very good points indeed, mate. Great to see you back in the thick of it once more. Challenging to say the very least, but everybody was in the same boat, and you were really rewarded for staying error-free tonight, weren't you? I mean, a lot of guys had their opportunity for success fall by the wayside, and if you didn't put a foot wrong, the world was your oyster. Even Marcus tripped up tonight. That says everything you need to know about how challenging it was.
Yeah, absolutely. It was super challenging. You were really having to underdrive the car, and particularly once you're in traffic, you could barely see. So made it really difficult. Made it difficult to predict what the car was going to do ahead to a degree as well, because everyone was driving it a bit differently because you had to underdrive so much. So yeah, finding those grip points was important. But yeah, more so it was just, you know, having a look at the guy ahead and making sure if they're going to spin, you're not in their way. And that's really what got me up there tonight, at least in that second race, because yeah, it was very difficult driving.
You carry a lot of good momentum, of course, out of last week into this week. Good points all built there. We're not going to see the full effect of what the drop rounds are going to do to the equation for another 3 weeks yet, but it's good to know, I guess, from a confidence standpoint, mate, that whether it's wet or dry, you can. Hang on, folks. Just don't mind us. We're having a little bit of a brain aneurysm there. No, that's all right. That's all good. I was wondering what the hell was going on, but it's Adam fiddling the buttons, and you're seeing it at home on the broadcast feed. Now, secondly, it must be a nice little vote of confidence for you, mate, to know that you can be competitive in both wet and dry conditions, and even in those in-between patches that we had in the first race as well.
Yeah, like I'm usually pretty competitive in the wet and most cars. I would say I'm actually less competitive in these than some other cars, just because the way they drive, it's, you know, it can sap a little bit of confidence out of you just because they flick on you so quickly when something goes wrong when you hit a patch, compared to some of the other cars that, you know, like your old P-Cups and that sort of thing, that, you know, GT4s and that were a bit more predictable when you'd hit it, and you're able to power out of those corners a bit better. So, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's I didn't quite have the pace of, you know, first on either of those races, but, you know, to be, you know, there or thereabouts and be able to manage the race well is a good thing, and you know, and to qualify okay as well in those conditions too, because qualifying is usually what gets me in these cars too. I'll end up, you know, starting, you know, down in 10th or something like that, and having to work my way forward, which I can often do, but, you know, it means that you're often not fighting right at the front. So yeah, relatively happy with that. And yeah, I've got some pretty, you know, horrific drop rounds to drop out from the first couple, given the luck of those. So you know, if I can keep it relatively clean and those drop out, there's sort of a chance to keep fighting with those guys. But, you know, I've got a lot less margin for error than they do.
Before I let you go and we chat to the boy from Gun to Guy, let's fast forward a week. Let's talk Laguna Seca. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, big fan of Laguna Seca. I haven't done laps around there in a while, but no, that'll be fun. Great track. These cars will go really well around there. everyone will just have to make sure they avoid those curbs because that will shatter this vehicle.
Must be disappointed to not see. I'm disappointed. You must be disappointed if you're not going to jump in there to not be tearing around Monza combined tonight. That looks like an awesome layout.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, I just haven't done the GT3s this season. Just goes a bit late, and I've decided to, spend a little bit of time on other stuff. But yeah, that should be a fair bit of fun. Yeah, good luck to the guys out there. I don't know if it's not wet as well, is it?
No, it's dry. It's dry.
Oh, okay, good on. So no, good luck to him. Yeah, I won't be out there.
No, not at all. Unfortunately, but and by the looks of it, nor is anyone else. There's only about 21 in the Pro Series server at the moment. Good to catch up, Chapo. Well done. Look forward to catching up with you again. Same time, same place next week, mate. Obviously, Laguna the next stop, and that'll get us to the halfway mark of the term. Hard to believe we're already going to be talking about the second half of the season. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Second half of the season. That's crazy. But yeah, time flies when you're having fun. Been a decent season here so far. Yeah, should be good.
Speaking of fun, you're getting out to the golf this weekend or not?
I'm not sure. I haven't scored any tickets yet, but I might sniff around and see what's happening. It's supposed to be a very good event, and I'd prefer to go there before the Saudis pull the plug. But we'll see what we can muster up.
I think I'll just stick to the comfort of watching it on the television, quite frankly. Good to catch up, Chapo. Well done. Catch up next week.
Cheers, mate.
Well. Look who's left. C Bond. Good to see that the bait that you were throwing before the race is going to come back to bite you here, young man. Because I, in the role that I'm in, I have no choice but to ask you your thoughts or for your thoughts on that incident with David Baz, please.
Am I allowed to just not answer that?
No?
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't impressed how it started and then how it ended was...
You're getting slugged with a 10-second invoice.
I kept my line. I didn't move at all, so I'm not gonna blame myself, but others can make their mind up a bit what they think of it.
So I'm starting to get the feeling that we're going to have a post-race appeal being lodged by C Bond. Apart from that, mate, I'll straighten up and talk serious for a moment. The reality of the matter is you had exceptional pace, great strong result in qualifying, just unlucky in the sense that you weren't able to convert that. Missed out on a podium in race 1, obviously a mistake in race 2 as well, cost you time. Then you got the 10-second penalty. So at this stage it's showing 9th, and even then, even if that gets overturned, it's only 8th, and it's a case of what might have been, really.
I think I need to focus on the driving and not changing preload springs on the pedals. Because I spent the last 2 days changing pedal combinations, just to end up with one change to what it was originally, which I'm going to go test the 2 again tonight. So, yeah. Probably need to focus on actual driving instead of changing things on the sim. So, we'll get that dialed in and then hopefully we can focus on the rest of the days without any pedal stiffnesses and combination changes. So.
I know you'll be going and tackling Monza combined. You're not. Okay.
No, I am not doing Monza combined. I'm stand on my word that I hate that layout.
Oh, okay, righto.
No one can change my mind unless they legit pay me to go race it.
So essentially, you're taking the similar stance to Marcus Watson and a couple of circuits on the calendar for Super Formula Light.
Well, yeah, sure. If that's what's going on for him. I'm not sure.
There's a couple of circuits that he said, I won't be bothering. I won't be turning up. So
from the release of this calendar, I'm like, I'm not doing this round.
Okay,
fair enough.
Fair enough. I did see a little bit of a memo in your Discord yesterday suggesting that there was no obligation to do GT3 tonight.
I think Jackson might be, actually.
Okay, good luck to him. He'll need it. 2 minutes 40 a lap around there, folks. So it's going to be a tough slog for Adam Lavis and I because, again, with only 23 in the server, that field is going to fan out pretty quickly. Hey, talk to me about what the rest of the week looks like for you, please. As far as racing's concerned, I don't give a stuff about anything else, just the racing side.
Did I hear you're commentating Wednesday night?
You would have heard that correctly, yes?
Hell yeah. I'm going to make sure you keep that job. Either way, yeah, Wednesday night, Thursday night, I'll double check on available those nights. But yeah, should be both of them supercars on Wednesday and then double duties on Thursday.
Just hang around in the waiting room or in the commentary box here once we go to intermission, and I'll fill you in. But I love Adam Lavis that he's waltzed in here and said, "I'm going to make sure you keep that job," like he's an employment recruitment officer or something of that ilk. But in saying that, I'm just merely keeping the seat warm for the moment for whoever might pick up the freight. I dare say next term. But as you know, there's something else coming up big on Wednesday nights that will obviously make it impossible for me to be in two places at once. Laguna Seca for SFL, that's the next stop. Your thoughts?
Laguna Seca. That's all
Laguna
I can say
Seca.
about it. Sometimes I enjoy it, other times I have a death wish for it. So we'll see what it is tomorrow, next week, what I think of that. But just want to get these pedals dialed in, and then I'll try and focus on actually getting some good results. But yeah, tonight was actually kind of disappointing with my performance, but I can blame myself for not putting the time in that I should have.
Well, I'm a little bit disappointed as well, Bondi, because maybe it's just a case of because it wasn't GT4. As soon as it started, pelting down, I thought, oh, here we go. This is Bondi in his element, and then all of a sudden, Dan Yeaman comes through and sweeps it up and grabs the W. Feel sorry for Jonesy though, because we're halfway through cheering him home, and then we had to change the narrative there. That's the beauty of motor racing. Sometimes you just don't know what's going to unfold right up until the moment the fat lady sings. Very nicely done. Anyone you want to thank on the way out?
The team, lack thereof, which is just me. Me and Jackson. The sponsors, myself, Career Enterprises, Viewco, Gun Guy Tilt Trays, South Gun Guy Automotive, Bond Motors Gun Guy, and Wagga District Car Club. Oh,
back on good terms.
Well, that was good terms, and then that went to bad terms, and now I'm just gonna not even comment about any of that, and just let that occur how it is. So, yeah.
Okay. Righto. Fair enough. I was just, I'm stunned. They got a mention in the thank you. Excellent. Lovely. Hey, good work. Good to catch up. Stay with me, though. I'll have a chat to you in the intermission. As I said, folks, we did come on air a couple of minutes earlier than anticipated this evening. The reason for that was because the server was pushed forward about 10 minutes ahead of schedule. So as a result of that, we do have this opportunity to take a break, but not before having a look at the championship points now that they've been updated courtesy of Adam Lavis. There they are for you. Marcus Watson, 233.25 clear of Dan Yeaman, so he's put 4 on what he had coming into the round. Isn't that amazing? Jonesy in third place, up 1, and a case of what might have been with that first place going begging. He goes to 182, 10 clear of Scott Hasler, Sam Chapman on 165. Further back then to Brendan Grosh, David Baz, Eduardo Zamora, Chris Henn, and Luke Brooker. I'm just having a look down the order. I haven't mentioned C-Bond's name yet, and he's not in the top 20, so we might worry about that too much. We'll hopefully catch up with him in due course. Hopefully see him in that top 20 in the next couple of weeks. Excellent stuff. If you're following along at home, it's a great night for sport. The Winter Olympics up and away on the wide world of sports. The curling on at the moment on 9GEM, switching across at 9 o'clock local time to the main channel, and it's USA versus Italy at the moment. 1-1 the score there. We're in the third end of play. We're going to a break. We're here with thanks to the great people at Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrci.com, and Flash Graphics. This is Monday Night Motorsport, night one of week 4 of term 1 of 2026. We're here Wednesday night, we're here Thursday night, and Banksy and Baldwin will be here Friday night as well. A big offering this week. 4 nights worth of action. We're looking forward to bringing it all to you and hope you can be with us for the ride. A break and back, and we're off to the Mecca that is Monza combined on the other side. Don't go away. platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Nice to have you company wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed the world this Monday night. The Autodromo Nazionale Monza, the venue for round 4 of Waste Options GT3. Race 6 of 14 in the campaign on the back of, race 5 of 14 in the campaign on the back of last week's opening sprint round of the season. And our first trip ever to Monza combined for a GSRC broadcast race. We're very excited about this as far as GT3 is concerned. And there is the layout for you, ladies and gentlemen. So there's the crossover that you're going to see. The inner loop, which is the Grand Prix circuit, and the chicane. The outer loop is, of course, the oval there. And you will see it when we go live that the start and finish straight has a wall. And thanks to Kurt Normanson for bringing my attention to it last week. A wall down the middle of it. There it is on your screen at the moment, actually. A wall down the middle to separate which side is where you're on any given lap. And more to the point, right, it'll be the inside. So when you're on the oval section of the circuit coming back around on, that'll be, of course, when you're determining when or whether or not you're going to be going into pit lane or not as well. You wouldn't want to muck that up. You're going to come past the start-finish line twice in any given lap, but you're only going to be able to go into pit lane on one of those two. So you're going to have your numbers right tonight. It's 2 minute and 40 second lap time around here. I'll come back to the circuit and the track length in just a moment because I didn't actually rattle off that detail. But there is the championship picture after 3 rounds. Eli Donaldson 133, Alexander Barrell on 126, Josh Fitt 110, Jeff Adams 109, and Lewis Greathead 98. Aidan Luthwaite, Alan Dawson, Aaron Schotter, Jordan Panazzola, and Austin Edwards make up the top 10. And as you can see, it is a very Porsche-hungry, heavy top 20 at the moment. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 6 cars in that top 20 that aren't Porsche. Just astonishing. 2 Mustangs, a Merc, an Aston, a Lambo, Dylan Shepherd, good boy, and a BMW. Can we go back to that track map just for a moment, please, Adam Lavis? There it is again for you, ladies and gentlemen. So the length of the circuit is 10.01 kilometres. So every lap is 10 kilometres. So 2 minutes 40 is about the benchmark lap time here. So 3 laps every 8 minutes. So that's 18 in 56. Plus you've got 2 transits in the pit lane. You're probably on for a 20-lap race here tonight, no change, which means 200 kilometres of racing tonight. Actually, no, sorry. No, I've buggered that up. 23 laps, I should say, 230 kilometres. Because 240 by 2 is 520, and 520 and 1 is 8. So 8 and 7 eighths are 56. That's where I've mucked it up. 7 eighths are 56. 7 times 3 is 21. And 2 on the back end of that. So 23 laps should be the guesstimated race length tonight. Okay, pictures coming in from the circuit now. We're 4 minutes into overtime as far as qualifying is concerned. We won't be too far away from clicking into a race server here. There we go, right on cue. And as a result of that, let's have a look at where we are on the racetrack. There's that wall straight down the main straight too, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So there's 2 walls down the main straight. One for pit lane entry, one for the oval straight, and one for the Grand Prix straight. But the Grand Prix straight, funnily enough, you come onto the Grand Prix straight off the oval and you go on to the oval straight off the circuit. It's interesting how that works. Eli Donaldson and Ryan Jones are the front row here. Alan Holgerson and Brendan Grosh the second. Nick Wood and Jeff Adams the third. Luke King and Alex Barrell on the fourth. Vinnie Ewan and Wayne Hewitt the fifth. And if you were with us for Super Formula Light, you'll be relieved to know that it is dry for this round of the championship. Only 21 starters here, it would seem. Matt Schmidtke, Stephen Lawrence from 6, from 7, Rob Hill and Alan Dawson from 8, Brad Coates, Aaron Schotter from 9. It'll be Dane Snadden and Dan Yeaman. Good to see that he did make it out there from 10, Rodney Gollan and Paul Rogers, and Brad Keck from 11. So only 21 entries on this grid. Again, very Porsche heavy. There are 2, 3, 4 BMWs, 2 Mustangs, a Lambo, and an Aston out there. Matt Schmidtke's aboard the Lambo that's in this field tonight. We are bringing you the Pro Split, ladies and gentlemen, having brought you, of course, some sprint racing from the lower divisions last week. Porsche front row, BMW second row, 2 Porsches, then a Porsche and a Mustang, then 2 Porsches make up the top 10. So 2, 4, 6, 7 in the top 10 of the Porsches. And then outside of that, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 in this field aboard a Porsche of 21. So that's more than, that's 50% of the field and then some. 1, 2 Mustangs, 4 Bimmers, an Aston and a Lambo. Righto. Brace yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up and hold on tight. This is an initiation like no other. This is a venture into the unknown because we've never held a Waste Options GT3 round on this circuit, on this layout. So they're going to come onto the main straight, and then they're going to launch straight onto the oval. We know it's a long lap around here on the Grand Prix course, but it's a 10-kilometre lap once you throw in the oval for good measure. It'll give us plenty of action and entertainment and excitement for the next 60 minutes. Race 5 of the championship, round 4 of 10. Another stop in Italy for us this term. We're getting well acquainted with the country that's currently playing host to the Winter Olympics, but our focus for the next hour is Waste Options Monday Night Motorsport and Waste Options GT3. Your main course is served up in a way we've never done so before, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eli Donaldson and Ryan Jones leading us to green. Can Jonesy redeem himself after letting one slip earlier? Let's find out. Away we go. He will never get that one down, I don't think. To turn on we go. He was, of course, referencing earlier the biggest buildings so that he can go and find somewhere to hide under. Second-hand embarrassment for the retirement or the spin that resulted in him losing the race with 3 corners to go. First time down the oval back straight. Holgerson under second. Holgerson going to the inside of Jones and to the lead. The good thing about the oval section is we're going to have some pack racing.
And that beat was going to take
Indeed it does. This might be the best opportunity for something other than a Porsche snare a win this season. Down the main straight we go. 3 wide already. Have a look at them. Now to the first of the big braking zones. Oh, hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen.
Now a rolling start at 150% speed.
Yeah. Magnificent, isn't it? On the brakes, on the anchors, Holgerson to the inside. Jones will go with him. Jones will squeak through on the inside. Jones into the side of Holgerson. They get out the other side. They're okay. Jones puts his nose in front. And Eli Donaldson fancies pushing him along. Hello, Jackson Rayhana. Good to have you tuning in. I think he's talking about the circuit configuration more than anything else. Down to the second of the chicanes. Jones is going to hold the lead. Donaldson to second. And this will be where the Porsche flexes its muscle. Oh, Jonesy a little bit wide. That'll open up the door. Donaldson will have a look. Down the back straight towards the Ascari we go. Clean so far. And that's how quick the lap goes, ladies and gentlemen. 10 kilometres in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Oh, trouble at the back. Trouble at the back. Brad Keck was the last of the runners anyway. Was starting 21st. And he'll stay there for now. But it's a massive invoice you pay when you give the field a little bit of a leg up like that. You make a mistake and you just lose contact with the train. And that, well, it's as good as curtains, really, isn't it? That's a death sentence. Because you've got no support, no way to save fuel, no way to grab some extra speed, no slipstreaming, no drafting. Opportunities and you're just out there with yourself for the next 40, 57 minutes. Down the back straight for the second time. Have a look at the legs of Holgersen Fimmer. Watch Holgersen. Will he go inside or outside? Speed will dictate this. You can see the Porsche boys getting on the defensive to the banking on the inside. How good's this? This will not be a boring affair if they can stay this bunched up for the balance of the night. It'll be the chicanes, it'll be mistakes, it'll be pit lane transits. That will determine the winners and the losers here, you get the feeling. Holgersen, Donaldson pushing Jones along. Donaldson, does he go for a look on the inside? No, he lets Jonesy continue to pull the train along. Oh, late decision to pull out of the draft and go for it. Donaldson leads in Italy. Jones back in the second spot, Holgersen third. The million lead at the Temple of Speed. And Wayne Hewitt is on pit road. Lively so far, Adam, but clean.
It's good to see that Monza is one of those tracks where even on the regular track it's usually a bit of a hazard for incidents, but the guys are doing well to keep it clean and fair, so we'll see how long it lasts. Obviously they know it's an hour race, so the question is how long will this last until they start pulling some punches.
Indeed. Strategy will also be a massive talking point here. It will be key. Brad Coates got left behind at the start. Matt Schmidtke lost 4 spots off the jump as well. And, oh, that was Brad Keck's moment. Matt Schmidtke's lost 4 spots. Luke King's lost 2. And Wayne Hewitt's lost 11 spots on the tow rope already. This is what happened to Hewitt. Straight on at turn 1. Yeah. And just decided to park it at that point. Ryan Jones into second spot. Chases Eli Donaldson back to the main straight. The end of the second lap. We're onto the oval once more. Now, this field at the top 9 are within slipstreaming strike distance as well. 3.2 covers the top 9. Look at that train of cars. All trying to find a way through. Rob Hill, fastest car of the race. 2 minute 40.509.
The other thing you'll notice with this layout, when we get back to the front straight, is to make this happen, they've had to dismantle the podium and the bridge out that's normally above the normally above the finish line. So it's a little bit old school in that regard.
It is. But how nice that this legacy track lives on in the sim world. I'm not sure you even use it. I don't think I've ever seen it used in real world. These days. I'd like to know the last time it was used in the real world, quite frankly.
I think they still did like some speed limited like club days, but because the concrete's degraded a lot, they can't use it as much because there's too many patches that are sort of gone past the point of usability.
Yeah, that's true. Down the inside, Donaldson. Holgersen to the inside. Holgersen to the lead. Donaldson will get him back on the inside, surely. Surely the acceleration of the Porsche, and Jones will try and push him along as well. Donaldson's got his nose back in front. Holgersen will need to rely on a big dive, heavy under brakes to the next corner, and will do so. Donaldson and Holgersen side by side. BMW leads in Italy now. This is exciting. It's just disappointing. It feels almost unethical, really, to go to Monza and not have a Ferrari on the grid.
We'll go to Lambo.
Got a Lambo, yeah, that'll do. That's, of course, our good mate from Whiskey Business Racing, Matt Schmidtke. Down the back straight we go. Donaldson in second spot. Chases Holgersen. Top 7 are all horsepower happy cars. Top 11 covered by 4.3 seconds. Dawson about 2 seconds back. Yeaman trying to fight his way back through the field. Wayne Hewitt still showing on pit road.
So this would be interesting to see if how much of that BMW horsepower was the slipstream and how much he can hold the lead with the Porsches coming down on him this time. Because obviously that toe is going to come into effect this time around.
Have a look at this. Just listen to these things in full flight, ladies and gentlemen. They're a joy to listen to. And we're running on board with Eli Donaldson now. Getting a bird's eye view of the Porsche hard at work. Will he go on the inside of Holgerson down the back straight? Jonesy could blindside the pair of them, quite frankly. 0.5 covers the top four. Brendan Grosh isn't too far back. He's under pressure from Adams, Barrelon and Ewan. And Luke King has Rob Hill and Stefan Lawrence for company. Back to the main straight we'll go. Holgerson's going to play defensive on the inside. And that works for him. That's a tactic that works for him. He can park at mid-circuit and lead the field through. And if he can do that all night long, Alex Barrelon muscled out of that by, I think it was Vinnie Newen, and then also that balked Luke King for a moment, and King's blinky billing all over the place at the moment. Alan Dawson and Dane Snadden on pit road as well, Adam.
Yeah, Luke King's got a connection issue. That might not be very good. Oh, he's sent back to the pits.
Yep.
Oh, what's happening?
Let's have a look at this. This was Dane Snadden. Oh, there's been a crash on the main straight, I think. So Luke King's also on the toe. Oh, wow. Big shunt, big crash. Massive. We'll wait for that.
No, they're trying to go
first one of the night. Great coats. 1, 2, 3. Oh. So Dane Snadden was just one part of that. Alan Dawson and Brad Coates, the other two. And Coates currently limping back to pit lane. Bang. Oh, Snadden has just popped that. And Coates has gone and flipping and flying. So 3 on the pit road and 1 out of business. Wayne Hewitt's getting to the point where he won't be able to be classified. It'll be too many laps down. What are we? 11 minutes into proceedings here. We're on lap 5. Shunt of the day indeed, Tyson Broad. Good evening to you. 9 o'clock on the East Coast, 6 o'clock on the West Coast, 11 o'clock in New Zealand. Good to have you along.
Yeah.
Adam?
Coates get a bit of airtime there. Not quite the highest score that Schmicky got in the Porsche Cup, but good attempt.
Not the sort of airtime he wants to be getting either, quite frankly. In his maiden voyage into GT3 Pro, of course. So synonymous for a long period of time there with Pro-Am. Rob Hill, 9th spot, making 8th around the outside. Yep, nicely done. I know it's Barrelon, and here comes Stefan Lawrence as well. So we're still bunched up at the front. Top 5, top 6 within 2.1 seconds of each other. That's Donaldson, Jones, Holgerson. So Donaldson and Jones, whilst we're looking at the replays, have leapfrogged Holgerson again, but Holgerson's within striking distance. The trouble's going to be, Adam, for the BMW. The Porsches work so well together, and they just seem to be an all-round package, right? The BMW tends to obviously flex its muscle on the straight. So that works for Holgerson around here for the most part. There's a lot of long straights on this circuit. Dan Yeaman's picked up a slowdown. But there's a lot of long straights on this circuit that'll work to his advantage. But it's the adjoining bits, the in-betweens, where the Porsches have got his measure at the moment. It's going to be a tactical racecraft sort of element that he needs to conquer here. He needs to find a way by and then needs a way to be able to defend them and keep them at bay. Sounds like, something that would be doable, but actually going out and converting it and completing the task, two completely different things.
That is definitely the truth. And the other thing too, which is quite interesting, is despite Donaldson and Jones being very different teams, they've both realised they're in the same car, so have the same strengths and weaknesses. So have decided to work together to counteract the advantage that Beaver has on the straights. So you'll see that those two are always bump drafting each other to try and make sure they can either stick ahead or with that BMW.
That's a fair call on the sportsmanship front, at least. Luke King, good evening to you. Yeah, didn't want to get back around to the oval blinking like that. It is a trip hazard for younger players. And, yeah, there's an etiquette involved in that that Luke's alluded to as well. Hello, Adam. Good to have you tuning in, mate. Looking forward to a great race. Even had half the hospital watching. We know you've been in hospital, mate. We hope you're well. We can't wait to have you back fighting fit real soon. And obviously, we're here to keep you amused in the meantime. Hopefully, when we're not, you're sinking your teeth into as much of the Winter Olympics as you possibly can as well. The men's downhill combined teams event currently on. Alan Holgerson under brakes, follows Ryan Jones to turn one of the Grand Prix layout now. So it's the full Grand Prix layout and, of course, the full oval. There's no shortcuts here. There's no changes to the Grand Prix layout per se.
So there is an option in iRacing to do what would be
without the chicanes.
Yeah, it'd be sort of like an 85-ish% of the original true track. They've got it such that you only get rid of the first chicane is the only one that iRacing have set up to be able to do. So the second chicane they can't cut out, and they haven't got the other option for Scurry. But yeah, back in the old days. Oh no, who's that? Groshy.
Your idea, Brendan Grosh in the wall, and that is one of the DPR racing contenders out of contention at the front of this field, because even if he gets back up to speed, even if he sustained minimal damage, an inch is as good as a mile around here. You're not reeling in that 7, 8, 9 seconds that you're just giving away to the front of the queue.
It looks like he might have got away with this with minimal damage, so let's have a look here, see how he hits this wall. Oh yeah, pretty decent, but the tire wall has done its job because it doesn't really ding the car that much, so he might have got away with that. But yeah, the original obviously there was like a bit of a kink at where the second chicane currently is, sort of like a little kinky bit, and then Ascari was literally a sweeping corner. So that's the only. Yeah, I don't know if that. We don't have to go that far back in time, but they can take out at least the first chicane to give it a bit more sense of speed if you really wanted to go full hell for leather on this old layout.
Donaldson and Jones 1 and 2, Holgerson and Wood 3 and 4. So 3 Porsches and a Bimmer. Nick Wood holding his own very nicely there, back of the train, and just behind them for Whiskey Business Racing is Jeff Adams, having a blinder as well. Vinnie Newland's got incident points. Got a pit lane penalty coming his way for that one. A drive-through, and costly too, because a drive-through around here, yeah, again, just 10, 15 seconds that you don't want to be giving away. On the brakes goes Jeff Adams now to the end of the main straight, on the anchors. Braking late too.
Well, luckily the other guys checked up, which is getting back into the group.
Yep. The other guys might be doing a little bit of fuel saving, do you reckon?
Oh, there'll be some of that out there. There's always a bit of that going on GT3. Especially on a high horsepower, full throttle track like this one, where fuel is a premium.
Car number 52, 052. That's, let me just have a look.
Stefan Lawrence.
052, Stefan Lawrence. The contact on the 087, which has been in Ewan. earlier in the piece.
Unfortunately for Jeff there, he's picked up a slowdown at the second chicane. So is that could put him out of the draft here if he's not careful.
Indeed it could. Down the back straight, Adams. You'll observe that slowdown, but yeah, as Adam has said, that's going to cost him a good chunk of time. It's a four-way race here, and slowly but surely we've whittled down the contenders.
Rob Hill's done well. He didn't qualify very well, but he's managed to work his way forward up into 6th place here. So he's having a good time. And Yeaman as well, obviously short notice, didn't qualify too good, but he's also kept his nose clean and got himself up 9 spots in the top 10.
Going beautifully. The commitment required on the oval. As evidence there on board with Ryan Jones. Geez, he'd be hungry for a win after letting the Super Formula Light one get away. Down to that straight we go. Oh, just acquainting himself very closely with Eli Donaldson there. The game of fine margins tonight. Dan Yeaman there in 9th place. Stefan Lawrence, 8th. Stefan Lawrence next target for Yeaman, but as we know, Lawrence has a penalty hanging over his head. That's the difference too, by the way. You've just seen it there on the left-hand side of the screen. The difference between being in contention and not. Great coach, well down the order at the moment, about half a lap off the pace, 1:06. You saw him going on the inside of the circuit onto the oval to start the lap. The others halfway through the lap going on the Grand Prix course. So the Grand Prix course, the second half of the lap, and oval the first part. Not much to add to this at the moment. It has now fanned out a little bit, this race. But the top four still right there, keeping each other honest, but then gaps 5th to 6th and 6th to 7th. Barrelon, Lawrence and Yeaman, the three on screen at the moment. Off goes Matt Schmidtke, but back on. Aaron Schotter behind him, Rodney Golan. And then it's a case of those that have been forced into early pit stops and those that have retired, Adam. 4 retirements already, so a fair race of attrition. That's 20% of the field already done.
It is a high speed, high risk track. It is quite easy to find yourself in the fence. So yeah, these GT3 cars can be fragile depending on the angle you get that fence. So unfortunately, some of those guys. Obviously, we saw Snadden's wasn't really an angle of a fence. It was another car on the road. But yeah, so it can be very, very troublesome with the high speeds this track does, and they're already in the pit lane.
That's 21 minutes in. So, I mean, I guess that's not too bad.
Well, the other thing is,
to be fair, that's 1/3 race distance, so it's down the centre, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other thing too is I think they might get an extra lap in the next stint because they obviously don't have to do the roll-up lap. But but it is because it's that's the thing, because it's such a long lap. It's hard to get an extra lap.
Correct. Especially when it's a 10-kilometre circuit. Holgerson, Wood, and Adams, Hill, Barrelon, Schmidtke, Lawrence, Newen. Oh no, there goes Brendan Grosh, his second major one of the night. And he'll be going to pit lane potentially for the second time tonight to try and to get himself sorted. He's already burnt a fast repair, so that will probably hurt him.
Jonesy's played some fuel games.
He'll have to race somewhat compromised for the balance of the night. And yeah, that's right. The fact that he's gone 6 laps, he's back on pit road again. So it could well be a 3-stopper now for Brendan Grosh, and that's not ideal. What did we say? 23 laps was about the threshold.
So Jonesy's taken 3 seconds less fuel to get some track position here now. So he needs to be able to maintain this gap, because if Eli gets back in that slipstream, that's going to be 3 seconds, potentially more in the next stop that he has to take.
23 minutes gone. For those of you that are just joining us, this is Waste Options Monday Night Motorsport, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. That is Dan Yeaman on screen at the moment, nestled right in the middle of the 3-car battle pack that features Stephen Lawrence behind him and Alex Barrelon in front of him. Everybody has stopped. Ryan Jones has brought himself breathing space, but as Adam has already detailed, he's got to pay the invoice on the next return visit to pit lane, and maybe he'll be in on the end of lap 16 rather than the end of lap 17 for everybody else. That might be the difference here. Remembering the threshold, I mean 8, 8 and 7 gets you to 23, so you're home. 8, 7 and 8 would get you to 23 as well. We don't anticipate going any more than 23 laps. The transit of the lane, not that inconsiderable. Oh, no, there goes Stephen Lawrence. Lawrence goes around, the pressure relieved off Daniel Yeaman's shoulders there as a result. Lawrence loses out to Schmidtke and Schotter and does a number on his tyres in the process. Brad Coates is going to come through as well. Costly for Lawrence. Oh my goodness. That's unlucky. That's unfortunate. Just another example of a Porsche doing Porsche things in the rear end parting company with the race car. The 25-minute mark has come and gone. So the mathematics of it, ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes 40 is the threshold. Even with the pit lane transit, it was only half a minute, 34 seconds slower that last time around for Ryan Jones. About 36 seconds for Eli Donaldson, 37 seconds for Nick Wood. So the longer you sat stationary on pit lane, obviously, the longer the lap. But all of that still bodes well, because we can run till about a minute and 30 seconds here, based on the iRacing matrix and mathematics of it. If you can get back to the line just before time, you'll get that extra lap. So we anticipate 23 laps, noting that 56 minutes goes evenly, 3 laps in 8 minutes. 3 goes evenly into 8, 8 goes evenly into 56 7 times, 7, 8 to 56. So 7 3s are 21, and 2 laps on top of that will get you beyond time. But it will be touch and go as to whether or not we get that full extra lap or not. Because when you think about it, 2 minutes 40 and 2 minutes 40 is 5 minutes 20. So you've only got a minute 20 really leverage to work with on all that. So if this gets flagged bang on the hour mark, it'll only be 22 laps, essentially, is what I'm saying to you. But I don't think the pit lane's not particularly long, and I don't think the transit is long enough to necessitate that, as we've already discovered. So it's either going to be a very short 22-lap race and a very short hour, or it's going to be closer to a minute 2.5 for you, ladies and gentlemen, tonight.
Stefan's in another moment.
Thank you. I just got your... oh, no, there goes Stephen Lawrence off the track. 2 deep at 1. That'll do it again.
You go left, right, left, right. What are you doing?
Yeah, that'll be a huge invoice for Stephen Lawrence with the slowdown from iRacing. Thank you to you, Adam Lavis, for just alerting my attention to what has been a chaotic night for our Pro-Am and Am splits. Race control not working as hard for their money here in the Pro split as what they are on the other 2 splits, it would seem. Ryan Jones, Eli Donaldson, Alan Holgerson, then Nick Wood, Jeff Adams, Rob Hill, Dan Yeaman, the top 7 in Italy. Remember, as far as this championship's concerned, folks, we've still got 6 rounds to come. Next week, sprint racing. Adelaide, Yep, you heard that correctly. Adelaide, then Mount Panorama, then we go to the Nürburgring, then Misano, then the Saxon Ring, and then Road America. We're looking forward to that immensely. Oh dear. I don't think people pay attention to my social media, Adam. I've got a phone call coming in from someone that should know better. Knows that I work on a Monday night and is trying to call me. Yeah, doesn't matter. I'll just let that vibrate away on the desk and sort it out later. Jones, Donaldson, Holgerson, Wood, Adams. Donaldson. Donaldson's got by Holgerson, and Donaldson's closed in on Jones. So Jones' advantage is evaporated. So he had 2 and a bit seconds on the pack, and it's gone. It's all blown up.
I reckon he's had a...
Donaldson, Holgerson and Wood have joined in. It's a four-way fight at the front.
He's definitely had a mistake or a slowdown on that previous lap. Lap 9 there. Lap 9 has not gone well.
No, not at all. Jones, Donaldson, Holgerson, Wood, Adams, the top 5. Rob Hill 6th. Jeff Adams 5 seconds off our lead pack. It's a lead pack of 4 for you at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. It has been all night, but now we're concerned about the numbers for Jonesy going forward. Could he sit 4th in the train and still save the fuel? And still put himself in a position to win this thing later in the piece. Brendan Grosh just confirming what we already knew. Things have not gone to plan. Oh dear. At least he's honest about it. At least he's honest about it. Wayne Hewitt out of business, so too Dane Snadden, Luke King, Alan Dawson. Grosh may as well be. I mean, he could possibly still get out there and be classified. Got to complete 18 of the 23 laps to be classified. Could be down so in 17th, but is it worth nursing a damaged car around here just for the sake of a handful of points? Not sure. Not sure. Porsche 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 9 at the moment. That's an interesting thing. 4 different manufacturers in the top 10. 2 Bimmers, a Ford and a Lambo. Also in the mix here. Jones, Donaldson, Holgerson, Wood and Adams, your top 5. And that top 2 are now, well, yeah. They're only 0.6 of a second up on 3rd and 4th. There's nothing in this. And Donaldson is now pushing Jones along. Poor old Jones, he's got his work cut out for him, though, because I think Donaldson will see an opportunity at the end of the main straight under brakes to take the lead away. And if you're Jonesy, I don't think you would mind that, because you could potentially save a little bit of juice sitting up Eli Donaldson's clucker and keeping him company in the way that he's pushing you along at the moment. Donaldson opts not to go to the inside. He's clutching early there.
Well, I think potentially Donaldson will know that Jonesy took that last stop. So there's no need to really push in front of him and then give him that fuel advantage back. He's at the moment making Jonesy work for all his speed and having to use all his fuel to keep his momentum up. So at the moment, it's probably, as much as it's not the raciest thing, it's probably the race smartest thing, race IQ wise, is just to stay behind Jonesy, make him use his fuel to the next lap, and then pull the trigger.
Correct. Jones, Donaldson, Holgerson, Wood, Adams and Hill. Yeaman in 7th and Barrel on his 8th. Donaldson in for 2nd at the moment. I guess the point that we overlooked here, just a small oversight on my part, ladies and gentlemen, is that we've got 4 different teams in the top 4 and 5 in the top 5. Despite the fact that, you know, it's a Porsche heavy top end of town, these guys are mostly from different teams. even then, Northwind, Orbit, Australia-wide, all represented in 7th, 8th and 9th as well. So what's that? 8 different teams in the top 10. 2 representatives each from Angry Pepper and Whiskey Business. 8 different teams in the top 10. Very big spread.
Yeah, the only semi-asterisk there is the Vermilion and the M-Tube who always have a working relationship, so they're sort of like the Red Bull and B-Carb type situation. But they still run as separate teams. They work together a little bit, but it's still one team owned over the other. So there is that distinction. But very interesting to see how they all play this.
Brad Coates in 14th position has just come to pit lane. Stephen Lawrence remains on pit lane.
That could be a bit too early.
Absolutely, it could be.
Although Coates didn't have much choice. Yeah, Coates didn't have much choice given he was about 12 metres in the air early in the race.
Correct. He's back out again. It's got a real Cornwall Park Thunderdome feel to this race, doesn't it? When the World Touring Car Championship was there all those years ago and did the combined course layout, the oval and the racetrack, except the racetrack for Monza is a bit more far-flowing and a lot higher speed than Calder. But it's got that same feel of fast straight chicane, hairpin chicane. So there is that element to it.
Did they use the same tunnel for the in and out of the oval?
Yeah, I think there was a wall either side.
Because it's not a very wide tunnel, so they're really a bit sketchy.
Yeah, well, I don't think they used the tunnel. I think it was just it was a strip of racetrack, but they put a wall down the middle.
Oh, okay.
I think, from memory. Yeah, there is footage of it somewhere on YouTube. I'll try and dig it up. Jones, Donaldson, Holgerson and Wood in pit lane at the moment. So just going back to that, Brad Coates is the last of the runners on track at the moment. On the lead lap, but half a lap down. And for the most part, top 15 are going to score points. The other 6 are going to miss out. Going to make your job easy, crunching numbers at the end of the night. 6 cars likely to miss out unless Brendan Grosh or Stephen Lawrence can get back out there. The longer they sit there, the less, point there is in actually going back out there, because once you're 6 laps down, that's it. You can't be classified. You've got to complete 18 tonight. These boys not entertaining the idea of pit lane for the second time just yet. Why would you? We're still 25 minutes from time.
Ooh, that's getting a bit risky there, Eli, pushing on the banking, especially how bumpy it is.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be wanting to flirt with the lower side of that yellow line. That's kind of like a no man's land for mine.
Depending on the car, it actually can be faster.
Down the back straight, well, that's true.
The car's got enough downforce, it's almost better to be down there because it's not as bumpy and rough.
I reckon I just saw a little bit of a slip and slide for Jonesy too. Up onto the main straight, across the line we go. Half a lap in the books there, 13.5 gone, 9.5 to go. Down the inside comes Donaldson now. Holgerson's there, Wood too. Holgerson goes with Jones. Donaldson goes on his own. Donaldson to the inside. Not yet. Going to stay second for the moment. Jones got the run through, got the run on the exit. Keeps Donaldson at bay, but Holgerson is still there as well, lurking and looming large. And Donaldson's still in the box seat to be the corrected order race leader when they come out of that second round of pit stops.
Yeah, they could be a lap or 3.
23 minutes to go.
They could be a lap or 3 away from those pit stops. So the fact that they're getting closer may be trying to start pulling the trigger because they want that track position heading into the lane. So might start getting a little feisty here. The follow the leader situation may take a back seat just for a few laps while they try and sort themselves out here.
It'll be a case of monkey see, monkey do. I don't think there's any advantage with regards to going down that pit lane of trying to do the overcut or the undercut on a circuit this long.
Well, I think for second, third and fourth here, if Jonesy goes in and they've all gone a lap, they can probably go because then they can still slipstream each other. and then that leaves Jonesy with no toe for his outlap. So that could even be more pain to his situation.
That would crucify him, I think. That would absolutely hang him. 22 minutes to go, folks. The end of lap 14, and we are 9 away from the checkered flag. Plus a partial run down the pit road as well. So they've got to the end of 14 in 38.25 minutes. That's about on par with our numbers. Down the back straight. Jones, Donaldson, Holgerson. Watch Alan Holgerson. He's the dark horse for mine. You weren't getting a look at Eli Donaldson's car because he's parked firmly under the rear bumper bar. The rear guard of Ryan Jones' Rd-4 Porsche for DPR Racing. Rogers is got by Newen for 12th. Vinnie Newen on pit road now as well. His second stop. Down the main straight these guys go. What a great little layout this is. I don't know what Bondi's whinging about. This is a great circuit. Certainly throwing up a tantalisingly enticing GT3 affair with thanks to waste options on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Monday Night Motorsport live exclusive and free for you right around Australia and New Zealand and streaming all around the world on YouTube as well. It is terrific to have you along. It's edging closer to a Tuesday morning in New Zealand and in other parts of the world it's early on a Monday morning, such as the United States. We've gone past 11:30 a.m. in Europe as well, where the Winter Olympics are taking centre stage. Last round of pit stops.
So the good news for Brad Clegg is he's in range to make it to the end here, so it's probably the earliest you'd want to pit. So he should be all right. Coatsy done, was he 2 laps earlier? So that might be a bit tricky for him. Oh, this battle's just taking a bit of a breather. Barrelon's unfortunately got himself a bit of a slow down. So that's going to means he's going to do all the work again to get back on the back of Yeaman. So will it be this lap or the next lap where everyone ducks in? And
time will tell.
And you got to remember too, like normally we see them go a lot longer. So the fuel, with the fact this track is so much 100% throttle, the fuel range is a lot lower than normal. So normally we see the second stop being a splash and dash, but it's basically almost a full fuel stop. And I think Jones is in. Right. They're going to crucify him.
There you go. They are absolutely going to hang him out to dry.
So he's going to need to work extra hard this next lap to try and maintain a gap. Now, interestingly,
he'll burn some fuel doing that too.
Yeah, Jeff Adams has gone in with him too. So Jeff's probably just chosen to go in, but he's been by himself this whole stint, so he probably wanted to go in and say hello to Jonesy because he's been missing people.
Donaldson, Holgerson, Wood, then Hill, then Yeaman. Jones and Adams on pit road. Field not yet cleansed. We know that Coates, Newen and Keck have probably got another stop ahead of them. That's an extra invoice. Bridges and Golan yet to stop that second time through. Jones in and out in 16.37.
And interestingly, that's 2 seconds shorter than Jeff Adams. I'm pretty sure did the full fuel of the first stop.
Yep.
So unless Jeff hasn't done his calculators correct.
That could be the case as well. Yep, absolutely. So 240 and 2 is 520 and 2 is 8. I've said that a few times. Nick Wood puts one on the inside of Alan Holgerson. Finally, we've got a positional change on track. It's taken a while, but there goes Nick Wood down the inside and displaces the BMW. Donaldson has taken off. 0.6 his advantage. It's the first time we've seen the margin that big for a while at the top end of town.
And Alex Farrell was quick to reel in that slowdown back to be back on the Yeaman again, so he may actually have some pace here if he can manage to get by Yeaman in the pit stops.
Barrelon there in 6th spot at the moment. Wood and Holgerson on the ragged edge. Just lighting up off-track alerts. Down the back straight we go. Nick Wood in 2nd. Holgerson 3rd. Then Rob Hill, Dan Yeaman, Alex Barrelon. Then Aaron Schotter. Then Matt Schmidtke. Then Rodney Gollin. Then Ryan Jones. Donaldson the leader. Nick Wood, Owen Holgerson. Then Rob Hill as the top 4. Yeaman is 5th. So much happening here. Donaldson, Wood, Holgerson, then Hill, then Yeaman. Surely it's this time through. Surely it's this time through to cover off Ryan Jones on the undercut. Yes, it is. The top 3 are in. Now we're going to get an indication as to where they come out in relation to Jones. And Jones is still, 37 seconds down the road. This is a long deficit to try and overturn. The pit stop times, the stall times are critical here. The top 7 are all in. Wood, Barrelon, Hill, Yeaman, Schotter, all joining Holgerson, Donaldson, and Schmidtke and Gollin all on pit road. Here comes Jonesy. No, they're all out. They're all out well ahead of him. Well ahead. But he's going to be up to speed. Donaldson is out. Half a second on Wood, who's 1.3 on Holgerson. And Jones is another 1.5 seconds back on that. And Jeff Adams has come through and displaced Rob Hill, Barrelon, Yeaman, Schotter, Schmidtke, Gollin, Rogers. That's your running order. That's your top 12. First to 4th is now 2.5 seconds. It hasn't been that big all night.
So I'm not sure what happened to Holgerson there because his stop was the same time, but he just hasn't got the car going up and running or something because he's lost time in the transit somewhere. So that's unfortunate for the Beamer.
Problem for Holgerson's going to be Jones. I think Jones will have enough speed to get by him in the end. And then what can he do in relation to Wood and Donaldson? Because the 2 teammates are going to work together here. I mean, they're not actual teammates, but they're brother and sister, sort of sibling, cousin, sort of, you know what I mean. And they're not under the same banner, but they are essentially one big unit.
So I just think Barrelon got the job done, and then Yeaman just let Yeaman make pass again. So very interesting strategy here by Barrelon. Be interesting to see how this works out for him.
Yeaman into 7th. Got to find another 7 laps out of this tank. Has 2.5 seconds to reel in Rob Hill. He just put 2 wheels in the dirt. That might help. Barrelon also did the same. Donaldson, Wood, Holgerson, then Jones, then Adams, then Hill, then Yeaman, then Barrelon, then Schotter, then Schmidtke, Coates, Newen, Rogers, Gollin, Keck, I should say, and Lawrence, the first of the retirements. So too Grosh, Snadden, King, Dawson, and Hewitt. There will be 6 retirements tonight. Now, what's interesting, actually, here's one for you. This is interesting. There's Vinnie Newen chasing Brad Coates, right? Sorry, Paul Rogers chasing Vinnie Newen, other way around. Back at the front, Holgerson's only 1.6 away, and Jones has caught him.
Yeah, they need to work together to try and close this gap.
If they can work together, sure, the world's their oyster.
And this is probably this is also probably the smarter option too, is for Jonesy to stay behind the straights, because if the Beamer has the bigger straight line speed, it's better for Jonesy to push the Beamer than the Beamer push the Porsche.
Absolutely. But arguably you'd suggest that it'd be better for Jonesy to lead through the midsection, through the Grand Prix course layout of the circuit.
Well, that's the problem, because like no matter what, you're going to lose a couple of tenths with the overtake. So
absolutely.
They need to make sure whichever way they go, they minimise what they lose if they do just try to swap spots.
1.8 seconds, 1.7 seconds. That's the margin at the moment. Donaldson, Wood, Holgerson, Jones, Adams, Hill, then Yeaman, then Barrelon, then Shotter. The top 9.
So interestingly, on the oval, the front two pulled a half a second gap, and through this middle section, the other two, the BMW is actually catching them 2 Porsches. So it's kind of going against the form we saw earlier in the race.
Minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock. The closing stages of a fascinating GT3 race. The top 4 are covered by 2.2 seconds, but the biggest problem is it's the 1.8, it's the 1.7 between second and third. That's the problem for Holgerson at the moment. His second issue is whether or not he can hold off the fast finishing Ryan Jones, who would be desperate to snare a podium after what might have been, and the wing slipping out of his grasp at Donington Park in Super Formula Light. Revolution Racing. Yeah, I thought the same thing. Don't worry, I thought we would have had 60 on the grid here. But there's about as much love for this course layout from some members as there is from Nick Fodiatis and Sebring. Quite frankly, you would have only had to have heard Bondi's remarks earlier in the evening to understand where I'm coming from with that statement. This is a very nicely controlled race from Donaldson and Wood. Obviously still under pressure from Jones. Jeff Adams is there in position number 5. Rob Hill is extending Daniel Yeaman.
That Marshall there is very brave.
Very, yep. Well, considering that's where all hell broke loose earlier in the evening, absolutely. Imagine the fun the OH&S Fun Police would have with regards to that. Oh, jeez. No different than fans invading the circuit when they shouldn't have.
So, if Barney's the flagman and Bruce drives the safety car, what B names have the Marshals got?
Ryan. Barry.
Barry's taken.
Brett.
Oh, right, that's Barney.
Barney. Brian. Barry. Brett. Ben.
Belvedere.
Yeah. And are we excluding female marshals, or should we start rattling off some D female names there as well? I mean actual names, not nicknames or insults, ladies and gentlemen.
There could be some female marshals out there, but unfortunately, currently with the current racing build, they render in as male-looking figures.
Yeah, they do, or they just identify.
Oh, hello! We've got a three-way back. Yeaman has caught Rob Hill here, so another battle is spruced up.
Rob Hill and Alex Barrelon are now trying to push Dan Yeaman along. They're 4 seconds away from Jeff Adams as we head down the back straight. Brent, so Brett and Brent, that would work. Yeah, no, there's plenty of B names out there, don't worry about that. Bob, here's another one. Eli, Nick, and Alan, the top 3 here at the moment. No B names in the top 3 at the moment. Brad, of course, Brad Coates, 11th place. The best beat name in our field as far as GSRC members are concerned. We're talking first name, ladies and gentlemen. Around the back of the course we go once more. Well, here we go. It's on. Rob Hill making a lunge on Dan Yeaman and going through. Yeaman's there, pushing him along. Good racing room offered by Rob Hill. Down to the bottom of the bank and goes Yeaman. Up to the top goes Rob Hill. The switchback is on the up and under. Watch the move down at the end of the main straight here. 6:40 left on the clock. 3 laps to go at the line. 3.5. Hill down the inside of Yeaman. Hill. Yeaman holds on. Nicely done. Out along the back of the course once more.
Oh, the gap at the front is closing.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And this is super stuff, really. Holgerson and Jones have caught Wood and Donaldson. That's what's happened. Have a look at this. Holgerson and Jones have caught Wood and Donaldson. Although Nick Wood has lost contact with Eli Donaldson. So now it's a question of whether or not 3 laps is enough for Eli Donaldson to hold that advantage and keep those 3 at bay. And when does Ryan Jones launch his move? Who launch his attack here? And when does it start? And can he get by on the oval on an Alan Holgerson? And then set up Eli Donaldson for the first corner, or Nick Wood, sorry, for the first corner of the Grand Prix layout. 3 to go. 3 to go. Well, actually, you know what?
I think only 2 to go. He's not going to make 3.
They're not going to make 3. No, it's only going to be 2. It's only going to be 2. That's right. We're not going to get to 23. It's only going to be 2. So that's unfortunate.
Oh, it's on.
240 and 240 is 520, so we're only going to get 2. And that was exactly the problem I thought we'd encounter, but I didn't think it'd be by 20 seconds. I thought it might be by 3 or 4.
New race leader
we're
first.
only going to get 2. And Nick Wood goes to the lead for the first time tonight.
That's what I was about to say.
So Donaldson's under pressure. It's on here with 1.5 to go. But yeah, that crept up on us. 1.5, 22, the threshold. You've only got to complete 17 to be classified. Well, 17.5, so 18 is still probably that threshold number. Or was it, no, 11, 5.5, 10, 11, 16.5. So 17 laps you've got to complete to be classified. So everybody that's out there is getting points. Everybody that's out there is home. Is Hill still under pressure from Barrelon? Yeaman's got himself to the head of this queue. Top 4 covered by 0.9 of a second. I'm finally up out of my seat. There's something to get excited about here, folks. And if I had my way, I'd be saying let's come back to Monza combined every turn. But not if we're only going to get 21 cars on the grid. And that's the problem. You've got to go where the numbers are. Whoa! Nick Wood! Almost put it all in the dirt. Barely hung on to it. Now we're heading down the back straight for the penultimate time.
And also, I believe here, has Jonesy won a GT3 Pro race yet? Because I know.
I don't think so.
Because I know Eli has.
I don't think so.
But I don't think Nick Wood has either, unless he snuck in one somewhere with a field show or something. So there's potentially 3 out of the 4 here could be a new race winner.
Could well be a changing of the guard type moment tonight. Ryan Jones would have to go from 4th to 1st to do it. Holgerson with a big dive on Eli Donaldson to go 2nd as they come to the white flag. And Donaldson draws back up on his inside. Drag race down to the first corner. White flag in the air one more time around. We're only going to go 22 laps but that's still 220 kilometres, and we're still not on the wiser as to how it ends in 10 kilometres time. Nick Wood, Eli Donaldson, Alan Holgerson, what can Jonesy do from fourth? Can he get another podium tonight? Still ruin what might have been at Donington Park. Down the back straight, 2 minutes to go.
The first chicane is going to be very, very interesting this time, Blake.
Make or break, really. Have a look at this. Donaldson to the inside, pushing Wood along. Holgerson holding the high line. They're not game enough to go 3 wide, or are they?
They need to be careful with transition. They need to be careful.
The Porsches are going to pounce on the BMW and gang up on him.
Right, they've dodged that choke point because going wide there on that hump is very dangerous. But here we go. All the Porsches working together.
Room. There's no room there. Jonesy pulls out of the draft, pushes Eli Donaldson along. Donaldson goes deep to turn 1. Donaldson to the lead. Jonesy around the outside. Then pounced on Nick. Wow, they're in the dirt and gone. They're in the dirt. Wood and Jones are in the dirt. Wood stays put. Jones survives. He's third. It's now a race in 2. It's Eli Donaldson to lose. Jonesy's out of the mix for the second time tonight. Rob Hill's on the tow rope. Are you kidding me? That's how Rob Hill's night has ended. Bang. 3, 2, tried to go, missed it. Tried to go for a gap that wasn't there, didn't see Alex Farallon was. On the innocent one in that, and Rob Hill departs exit stage left. And then Nick Wood gave Ryan Jones no room on the exit on the outside. Had the corner, but really didn't have the overlap to dictate to Ryan Jones, you know what, follow me. So Eli Donaldson in all of that, on a night of drama and attrition, will come through and clean up the pieces. Barring a last-ditch effort from Alan Holgerson.
He's not quite close enough to get the move done.
From Donaldson in the final corner. Porsche domination continues in Waste Options GT3 Pro. Eli Donaldson will extend his championship lead at the top of the train and get the job done on Monza combined. $1 million. What a dream start to the season they're having. Third win on the trot for Donaldson. He swept the night last week at the Bend. Now he gets the job done in Italy. Whoa! There goes Alex Farallon. He's going to have to try and limp it to the line. But he's going to lose 7th in the process. Aaron Schotter's going to come through.
Just before he lost it, I thought he might have a chance. It looked like Gaiman went wide. So I thought he might have had a shot for it on the line, but he's just lost 3 going through the corner, unfortunately.
What the hell? Wowee. Wowee. Well done, Eli Donaldson. Withstood the pressure, and it was on from first until last. Let's be perfectly honest. They didn't get too much time to, you know, stand up and catch their breath and relax tonight. They had to work for the entire 60 minutes, the entire 22 laps. And they did it beautifully. So the pit lane transit time enough across the 2 stops to deny us an extra lap there. So you might feel a little bit robbed of that, but how could you be, considering the epic finish that we were presented with? May have been a little bit more epic if we still had 4 in the fight by the time we got to the last corner, but it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. That's unlucky. Damon brings it home in 6. Schotter, Barrelon, Schmidtke and New in the top 10. Rogers, Golan, Coates, Keck, Hill, Lawrence, Grosh, Snadden, King, Dawson, Hewitt. Hill will be classified, everyone else not. That's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. Eli Donaldson straight out of the car, straight into the commentary box. We'll hear from him in just a moment. Kurt Nomenson's going to jump in and have a chat from one of our lowest splits. Ryan Jones, I've been busting to have a chat to Jonesy ever since He's threw it away at Donington Park, but he's here to have a chat about that final lap incident with Nick Wood and also the strategy play, which could have got a long way to determining the outcome tonight. Eli Donaldson victorious in a big way here. Alan Holgerson for mine is the driver of the night, because when you think about the pressure of being the only BMW in the mix there, he took the fight to the Porsches, and it's no secret that it's a Porsche heavy series at the moment. And Holgerson and Yeaman got the Bimmers inside the top 10. Barrelon and Schmidt got the Ford and the Lambo in there as well. And in the end, still 6 Porsches, 5 different teams in the top 5, 6 in the top 6, 7 in the top 7, 8 in the top 8 in the end there, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. Vermilion, count them, Vermilion, Angry Pepper, Simrigs, Entropy, Risky Business, Orbit Drop Bear, Australia Wide and Northwind Motorsports. 8 teams in the top 8. And there was a Frog Leap entry in 10th. So it's 9 in the top 10. That speaks volumes of the calibre of drivers we've got in here at the moment, and the wide spread of competitiveness across a vast number of different teams. We'll bring you some highlights now as we take it back to the start. Eli Donaldson, have you ever had to work as hard for a victory as you did tonight? Well done.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had to work that hard for a race win. It's only getting harder and harder these days. And then you provide Monza combined, and it's straight out. I feel like we were doing NASCAR half the race.
I was about to say, we may as well have just thrown you on Talladega and said, or Daytona, and said, have at it for 60 minutes, boys.
Yeah, literally go and I did a bit of practice. I did the 3-hour here on Saturday night, the official 3-hour, and I noticed straight away if you didn't have somebody or you weren't in a group, it spread out very quickly. So key to tonight was sort of to either have someone with you or be at the head of that pack, so that when it broke up, you were broke up and you were always in the draft. And ultimately it brought us down to 4 cars and had an epic last lap finish.
Epic last lap finish indeed. And how lucky you were, obviously, to be at the front of that. Time to run perfectly, mate. Got by Nick Wood, and obviously then had to fend off Alan Holgerson. To be fair, had it not been for Jonesy and Woody coming together, then it might have been a different story. You might have been working a little bit harder to the line, but at least with half a lap to go, you knew you'd be able to hold off the BMW, knowing the strength that the Porsche has on the Grand Prix configuration. I think it's fair to say what kept the Bimmer in that, apart from a solid drive from Alan, let's be perfectly honest, take nothing away from him, the fact that it had the legs and it has strong poke in a straight line.
Yeah, all weekend officials, BMW was quickest thing on the track, and then Porsche was second with all the corners in the GP circuit. So I knew I had to at least be on my toes on the straight and either be right on him or work with Nick the whole time. Mega being Entropy Vermilion sort of teammates. Really disappointed for him in the last lap. I was really hoping we could get him up there as well, but he was mega tonight, helped me out a heap. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I'd be talking to you in P1. I'd probably be 2 or 3, I reckon.
Strategy, mate. Obviously, I look forward to Jonesy's take on this in a few moments' time, but fortunately for you, I guess, you came out with a deficit in the start of the second stint there. It was about 2.5 seconds in Jonesy's favour. He's gone a shorter fill. In the end, he's been able to counter that and balance it out nicely, but you guys worked together, you reeled him in, and then left him hang as he's gone into pit lane a lap earlier than you guys, and it's one of those rare opportunities in which the overcut has paid dividends.
I think he probably outsmarted us all, if I'm being honest, because being that he probably knew that we had to go the 1 lap shorter. I was calculating on 22 until I got halfway through the second stint and realised, we're probably not going to make the extra lap. So smart play, but if he had someone to go with him, if he had Alan to go with him or one of us to go with him, it probably would have worked out. But being that it was just him and the 3 of us all full fueled, it made it pretty easy for us to just come straight back to him. So bold strategy, kudos to him, but it's one of those ones, if he had somebody with him, it would have worked. And if he didn't, it didn't. So it's just one of those ones.
It's one of those ones indeed, mate. I mean, actually, just let me chime in here and tell everybody that at 5th place tonight, Jeff Adams has slid into the booth for a chat with us as well. Looking forward to hearing his version of events in just a moment. But that's, I guess, the other point as well, mate. We were all looking at it thinking, oh, yep, 22, 23. I was looking at it thinking probably 23 until we got to about 5 minutes to go, and I was like, hang on, that's not going to add up. And it was Adam that was like, yeah, we're not going to get there. And the only reason I questioned that midway through the race was I couldn't quite get my head around exactly how long the pit lane transit was. I thought that would be the determining factor, knowing full well that we had a minute and 20 of leverage with based on whether we'd get an extra lap or not. The calculations were 2 minutes 40 a lap. We were looking at it thinking, okay, that's good. That's an hour and 1 and 20. But it's given you a minute and 20 of leverage on top of that to get the extra lap in. But unfortunately, with the fact that we're mostly in the 241s, throw in the fact that the pit lane transit was what it was, that eradicated any possibility of getting that extra 10 kilometres in. Made all the difference in the end. Jonesy kept himself in the race. You guys made him work for it. But inevitably, track position was king, and that's what you had at the right time.
Yeah, definitely track position was king. I think I worked out after the first round of stops, I sort of looked at my lap counter and I saw that it went from 23.2 to or 22.3 to 23.1 or whatever. And I realised that the lap pace wasn't as quick as what we were doing or what we were doing in qualifying. Track was a bit cooler, but we were lifting and coasting everywhere. So pretty much knew straight away at the second stop that I had to take a chunk of fuel out of it. Still had to guess how much fuel I had to take in the last stop. It wasn't clear cut. I was going to take 29, I was going to take 30, I was going to take 31. I took 30. I still needed to do a little bit of save because I was burning a bit too much in that last bit when Nick and I were out the front trying to push away. But eventually when I got to like 2 to go and Nick and I swapped around, I could have that little bit of chance to save what I needed to get back to a good number where I wasn't going to cough over the line and lose the race.
Very, very different look and feel to next week, mate. Let me get your thoughts quickly on round 5. We go straight out of 60-minute mode, back into sprint mode. We go from the concrete canyon of the banks of Monza to the streets of Adelaide and sprint racing. So we're going to invert the top 10 there for race 2. Very different racetrack, but no less challenging in the sense that you're going to have to work for your money there as well. And you carry with you going into that round a 3-race winning streak and 4 podiums in the last 4 races as well. So your thoughts on Adelaide and whether you can continue this podium run?
Our plan is to continue it. Adelaide came out on the server this year. GT3, I think, had a back-to-back round where it was open sprint, and then the Oceania fixed was there, and I reckon I did 3 or 4 500 laps of the Porsche, just lapping Adelaide, getting my rating up. So I'm really keen for Adelaide. I've had it circled on the calendar the whole season. After last round, come out of last round with 2 wins, couldn't be more chuffed. Then come out tonight with another win. Tonight was circled as a sort of just get through it or win it so we could extend that championship gap. And then I've had Adelaide marked on the calendar since the start, midway through the start of the season. So really looking forward to going to Adelaide. I think we've got a bit of weather in race 2, which should suit the Porsche. And then just even in race 1 with the curbs and everything, the Porsche loves Adelaide. So we should be good.
Next week, folks, we'll bring you the opening race from the Pro-Am server and then the Pro feature race there as well. So we'll get to see you guys in action in that variable weather slot. So we're looking forward to that, mate. I don't think there's anything left to ask you, quite frankly. I am curious, actually, before I get you to do some thank yous, though, as to what tyre wear was like in these cars tonight.
No tyres, just gas, as Lightning McQueen would say.
Fair call.
I think I used all of maybe, I think I had 85% on my fronts, so I was using like 5% a stint, so yeah, no burn at all. It was mainly the banking. The banking was just overheating them because you're just holding it right, but once you got into the straights and the corners and in the GP circuit, you could sort of cool it all down and make sure you weren't burning the tyre up so much. So it wasn't too bad.
Very nicely done. Let's get some thank yous from you, mate, on the back of what's been a very, very solid start of the season for you when you extend the championship lead tonight.
Just want to thank everyone from Vermeulen, all the support, and Jaime with the setups. And special shout out goes to Nick Wood tonight for all the help he gave me in qualifying and in the race, working together. Like I said earlier, disappointing that we couldn't get him up there where he had that incident on the last lap, but I don't think, like I said, without him, we probably wouldn't have been fighting for the win tonight. So big thanks to him tonight.
Helps to have allies in your corner, doesn't it? And it wasn't lost on anybody. Adam and I both pointed it out. The special cousin-type relationship that you guys have with Entropy.
Yeah, 100%. I think I was looking at it in qualifying, and we even in qualifying, we sort of before qualifying, identified that there weren't really many teammates out there tonight, so it was sort of, we left it till like last 2 out of the pit lane, so we didn't get any people straggling on the back of us trying to tow us. So it probably would have been a different story if the OPR boys showed up. A few more of the VE guys, if they showed up, would have been a different story. But hey, at the end of the night, you take the chocolates when you get the chocolates, so that's all that matters.
Very nicely done. Good to catch up, mate. I get the feeling we're going to hear a lot more from you as the season goes on. So, well done. Good luck for the rest of the week, whatever else you're throwing your hat into the ring for. And we look forward to seeing you on the streets of Adelaide next Monday night.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
From Eli Donaldson, Kurt Nommenson, hang tight. Coming to you in a moment. Jeff Adams as well. But I've been waiting 2.5 hours to have a chat to Ryan Jones. So let's do that now. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. You must have been relieved to get to Monza and realise that it was dry.
Oh, not really. I love the rain. Zach, you should know that by now. But
Oh dear.
yeah, it was not my finest hour in SFL.
Well, mate, let's just explain to everybody that's only just joining us, right? I'm riding you home, right? I'm looking forward to, finally calling a Ryan Jones victory on server, and I'm denied that chance about 25 seconds from the checkered flag. Dan Yeaman's absolutely loving life because he's come through and snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. But it was a mixed bag for you, mate, because race 1 also didn't go to plan. You did well, actually, to fight back to, I think it was 8th in the end, and put yourself in the invert position in the first place.
Yeah, I spun out of a podium spot in the first race as well. Got back, had some decent pace, and yeah, race 2 was just survival, pretty much. It was good fun. I'm actually racking up a pretty impressive list of ways to fail to win GSRC races. I still haven't actually won one. I mean, I won one on Sunday, but in the mountain man, but there's only 2 people, so I'm not counting it.
Okay, fair enough.
Still looking for that first proper league victory in GSRC. It's really starting to bug me.
Well, to be fair, had it not been for the late contact with Nick Wood, it might have been on here in the GT3 Pro race, mate. Let me get your thoughts on that as a whole, because obviously you've come away with 3rd, and that's great. Well done. But again, a case of what might have been. You had the pace. You were toing and froing there with Eli in the early stages. It felt as though Eli was content to sit in there and let you do the heavy lifting of pulling the pack along. But from a commentator standpoint, the early part of that, especially when you're on the banking there and you're 2x2 and in parts 3x3, all I'm thinking is this is like a high horsepower, much faster average speed Hyundai XL race.
Yeah, or Daytona. I started employing my old NASCAR strats after that first stop. I'd sort of cocked up a bit with the feel, and I don't know how closely you're watching, but towards the end of that middle stint, I wasn't even full throttle down the straights, and the slowest braking battles ever into turn 1 because I was lifting really early and they didn't want to pass me. So it was pretty funny. But I don't mind this style of racing if you get smart guys around you doing it.
Yep.
And luckily Eli and all those guys at the front were really smart, so it was good. Wish I'd known that everyone was taking a full tank at the first stop and not just splitting the required fuel in half, which I thought would be the strat. Because, I mean, I didn't take any more fuel than them in the entire race, but just the way it works out with the draft, I didn't, I can't benefit from getting the short stop. So yeah, wasn't the plan, but I think recovered well enough and had a chance on the last lap, but it didn't work out.
The other point as well, mate, if I heard correctly, that was an open admission from you that you cocked up on the fuel strap. So nice of you to come in here and own that. You could have easily swept it under the carpet and said, no, fully intentional. We did that deliberately. But in the end, it didn't necessarily hamstring you or punish you too much, mate, because as we worked out, what we were looking at was a 23-lap race and we ended up with 22.
Yeah, I mean, I messed up, but I do feel like, isn't the strategy normally to put half your fuel in at the first stop and half your fuel in at the second stop?
I agree with you, but obviously it was the racetrack was chewing a bit more fuel tonight.
Yeah. No, it was good. I didn't know how many laps they were going to be. JRT told me I needed 70 litres. I put 35 in at the stop and 35 in at the second one. And then luckily that Beamer was pretty good in the straight line, so I could shove Holgerson along, and he was smart, didn't try to block or anything, which would have killed us.
Correct. And we've seen a couple of replays tonight that would illustrate that you paid heavily for any contact of cars and mistakes, particularly on the main straight here. I was impressed to see that the big incidents that we saw tonight, mate, weren't on the oval. I was hoping for something on the oval, and everybody sweeping up to the Armco on the top of the circuit, like what they will next Monday morning from Daytona.
We got pretty close in that last lap.
I thought so.
Pretty close to each other's fenders through to oval 3 and 4. Yeah, I mean, they move around a lot on the banking. That's really bumpy, and so I think people were probably a little bit apprehensive about getting too close, which would have caused those shunts. So it was good to see some sense there, but big braking zones, chicanes, it's always chaos, right? I was surprised we got through lap 1.
Yep. On the subject, well, that's right. On the subject, last lap, can't not ask you for your thoughts on that running with Nick Wood.
Just product of hard racing at the end. You know, I left a fair amount of room on the inside, and it's hard to keep it pinned to the inside when you're in Nick's spot there. Like, you're full lock, and if you just got a little bit too much speed, you can't wind any more lock on. So, yeah, he just drifted out into me, and once you're hooked up, yeah, not much you can do about it. So, unfortunate, but it's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes, indeed. Busy week, no doubt about that. I mean, all eyes on that little-known piece of bitumen west of Lithgow and east of Orange this weekend, and knowing that you work in real-world motorsport media as well, mate, no doubt I'm interested to know whether you're, tagging along for that or not. But before that, how's V8 Pro qualifying going, please?
I can tell you, I put in a lot of practice last week, and then it rained, and it all went to it was all for nothing. So this week, I've gone with the bold strategy of 0 practice. So
good call. Yeah.
I think I just need to finish tomorrow. I'm 8th in the points. I've messed up all 3 races, but I've managed to finish pretty much in the same spot on all 3 races. So got a decent points buffer. Just gonna finish and then turn the attention to Porsche quality.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, how excited are you for that? I mean, obviously, we saw last year the GT Pro Invitational. There was a lot of interest in that. But I just get the feeling, mate, just by poking my head in around the traps, that there's a lot more momentum behind this series already than what the GT Pro ever had. A, it's going to be on a Wednesday night, midweek, prime time, and B, there's a big vibe on one-make racing at the moment.
Yeah, the Porsche is always popular, even if it does drive like a bloody pogo stick at the moment. But yeah, so it's always a popular category. I think we've been craving a high-end Porsche League for a little while. I realise GSRC has one, as I've said that. But,
thank you. Thank you. Yep.
I think you know what I mean.
Don't worry. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. But my advice to you at this particular point in time would be to dig up.
There is a lot of elite drivers who should be racing in GSRC who are not, unfortunately. I couldn't think of two worst possible tracks to go racing, but qualifying.
True.
That's right. Yeah, Porsche. It was always fun to go racing with Porsches, mate. I love my Porsches.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of which, Porsche, the car of choice at the moment in GT3. Let me get your thoughts on Adelaide next week and whether you will eventually get that monkey off the back and salute the judges first, please.
Probably not, to be honest.
No.
I imagine I'll go winless for another couple of weeks until I stop throwing myself off the road from the lead. I don't know if you didn't broadcast the pro race last week, but I managed to lose that on the last lap as well from the lead in GT3 to Eli. So, no, I'm just rocking up, have some fun. It's been good fun lately, and see what happens.
Any media obligations this weekend in the Central Tablelands or not?
I've actually elected not to go to the 12 hour because I really want to do GSRC Wednesday through Friday. So I've
Good call.
Good call. Sim racing instead.
I don't blame you. Very good call. And of course, let's be perfectly honest, once you tally up all the expenses involved, even though some of them would be tax deductible, right? It's still cheaper to park it on the lounge and watch it all day on Sunday. Although the free-to-air brigade are already blowing up upon the confirmation of the worst kept secret in Australian motorsport, that the 12 hour was going behind the paywall this year. Good on you, buddy. Well done. Great to catch up. Fine. Eventually we'll get to interview you as a race winner, and I really thought that was going to be tonight, but Dan Yeaman said to say thanks very much for that. We look forward to catching up with you a little bit later on. I'll be catching up with you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, well, Wednesday, Thursday at least with the GSRC stuff. Looking forward to seeing you in action there. And also good luck with the final round of Pro Qual, which, if you've been watching that, ladies and gentlemen, not Wednesday night this week, instead Tuesday night. I'm still none the wiser as to why, but it is Tuesday night. Must have something to do with an iRacing update or something that's coming through. And that too. So keeping out of the road of all of those obligations and trying to get some clear traffic. So if you've been watching that throughout the season, and there's been 3 different lead commentators play-by-play already in that campaign, Scotty Rankin, the main anchor, back in business tomorrow night, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time on the SimSpeed Esports Network, and good luck to all and sundry there. I look forward to teaming up with the boys for the Porsche Series and also the Bathurst 1000 later in the year. Good luck with that, mate. Anyone you want to thank on the way out?
Yeah, big shout out to you boys put on the broadcast. Always good fun to go back and listen to. I was going to say on mute, but I was going to do me. I love listening to your commentary, Zach.
That would defeat the purpose of listening.
I know. Oh yeah, everyone at GSRC put on a good league and good racing up the front. All the boys racing me there, and all the sponsors at DPR and all the boys there. High Performance Media stuff, Thankfree Transport, DPRdocs.gg, and yeah, good fun. See you boys next time.
Indeed you will, mate. Good on you. All the very best. Appreciate that. And yes, you might not want to go back and watch the final lap of SFL at Donington, but yes, good luck in the meantime, particularly with tomorrow night, and we'll hopefully see you in victory lane at some point later in the campaign.
Cheers, mate.
From Jonesy, let's go to Jeff Adams and then to Kurt Nommensen. Stay with us, folks. All the results, by the way, nothing too stimulating coming out of the Winter Olympics in Milano Cortina at the moment. They're showing the figure skating again. So all eyes on the GSRC for the next short while. Let's have a chat to Jeff Adams. And to be fair, Jeff, a solid 5th, but a lonely 5th as well, mate. Just couldn't go with the lead pack, and obviously circumstances have played out, events have unfolded behind you, and no one's been there to really go toe-to-toe with you, dance with you throughout the course of the night. Given what we've heard from the other boys, where they had to really, switch on and focus for 60 minutes, it must have been a nice change of pace to be able to sit there and just focus on turning laps and keeping it straight.
Yeah, g'day Zach. It was a lonely second half to the race after the first pit stop. I came out and I got a slowdown on the second chicane, and as soon as that happened, that was it. That was my race. It was all by myself after that. I was singing to myself in the car, but yeah, no, it's a good race. Like it was like, you know, it was just head down, bum up after I made that small mistake, and it was like try not to make any more of those mistakes because I'm sure the guys behind would have pounced. And the last 4 laps, I'm not sure if you could catch it. The boys were catching me because they must have got into a pack, and I had a 4.5 second buffer there for 80% of the race, and then all of a sudden they started closing that gap because they came into a 3-man race behind me, so they obviously started pushing each other along. So I had to make sure I was always hitting my marks and not making any mistakes, and lucky enough I managed to stove them off.
Indeed. I mean, to be fair, mate, if they're making little gains towards the back end of the race, as long as you don't make mistakes and you've got time on your side, I mean, you're as good as home. Were you feeling any extra pressure, or were you content knowing that your pace was going to be good enough to not be in any under sort of pressure or danger?
I was running about 2-3 tenths slower than my normal pace, or what I would say normal pace or race pace, when I got by myself. And then once I sort of saw those boys catching me, I put a couple more tenths into the lap, and I was comfortable. So I wasn't reaching with my lap, so I was feeling fairly comfortable in the car, which is my benefit to that situation. The series has been quite interesting. I think I sit 3rd in the series, and this is my first run in the Pro Series for a while, and I'm surprised. I think, some absences of certain drivers in certain races so far, and having some good, solid, top 5, top 10 finishes. I think, I've managed to keep the points pretty high. I'm only like 7 points or 8 points behind Alexander Barrelon, who's in 2nd place. So I'm not, and Eli's obviously fallen. He's 40 points ahead of us. But as for 2nd, I'm sort of holding on there, and I'm doing pretty well. I'm quite surprised, to be honest.
Consistency's key, mate. From your standpoint, what do you make of the challenge of the circuit? Because it's a 10-kilometre lap, obvious trip hazards, long way around. Everybody's burning a bit more fuel, a lot more full throttle than what we're used to with GT3. The boys have compared it to oval racing, NASCAR, IndyCar, or as I said to Ryan Jones there earlier, just for real-world relevance, the old Hyundai Excels. A lot of full throttle action tonight. Very exciting up front, but from a driver's standpoint, how did you enjoy the challenge of the circuit?
Well, with the Porsche, it actually wasn't too bad. I was a little bit concerned initially with, being the BMW was the dominant factor in the official stuff, and I never got a chance to do any running. But once I sort of got in and did some laps and realised the top speed of the Porsche wasn't too bad, it sort of settled me in, and I wasn't too worried in that sense. The track, the only thing I was, thinking, especially coming in tonight, it was either going to be a big field or it was going to scare a lot of people away, and I think it scared a lot of people away. So, again, turn up, take the points, in these situations when I can.
Let's talk about the fact that you're dual aligned at the moment, if I can use that term. You've got a similar deal to what Matt Schmidtke has in place, part-time with the crew at Subpar, part-time with Whiskey Business. For Schmidty, of course, it's Whiskey Business and Oz E-Races. How are you enjoying that that possible opportunity to go and collaborate with the Whiskey Business boys and then go back to the regular home ground of Subpar?
Yeah, it's actually been quite interesting. The Whiskey Business boys have been super welcoming. They've been a really good crew to sort of run around with, and they're a friendly crew, and I've been quite welcome. And as for sort of the Subpar sort of standpoint, it's just my teammate Richard and all my other Subpar teammates were all having a bit of a break and slowing down on how many races they were going to do this season, and so we chose the Porsche Cup to be running the one series that he would run with us. So Richard King and I decided to run just that Porsche, and that's where Whiskey Business is happy to pick up the pieces for the rest of the series, whatever I want to run. And so yeah, I'm running with them in the GT3, as you see, and I'm also running in the GTE when I run that one on Friday nights as well. So yeah, it's been good. I'm super appreciative of the Whiskey Business boys.
Let's fast forward towards the rest of the week, mate. What's it look like as far as the racing schedule is concerned? And then obviously let's turn one eye towards Adelaide and how you feel as though the Porsche is going to handle the streets and sprint racing.
Well, as for we've got like we said, the P Cup. That's actually I'm in the elite split for that as well, and surprisingly enough, I'm in sixth place in that. So again, feeling a little bit like a fish out of water, not really feeling like I belong, but just so I happen to be where I am. And I do enjoy the Porsche, and that's why I sort of stuck some parity with the Porsche Cup here and the GT3s. But with Adelaide, the Porsche is a comfortable car to get around in. It absorbs the curbs well, and as we all know, Adelaide's got that horrible turn one that can be quite a nasty one for some cars, and the Porsche seems to eat it up pretty well. As for there's an opportunity there for me to again take some points home in the second race, with it being a sprint round and wet. Can always cause chaos, and I'm there to pick up the pieces. I might be lucky enough, but also too, there's a high risk, high reward. So in those wet weather races, anything can happen.
Indeed, they can. Let's have a look. Dan Yeaman, 85. Flat out would have been 82 in the BMW. Got it down to 78 with saving in the middle stint, and calculator was too conservative. Didn't see the lap count changing until after the final stop. So realistically, call it 73. That would be in response to what Kurt Nommensen was saying, and a few others were saying with regards to how many litres of fuel they needed for that race. Very nicely done. Hopefully we'll see a bit more toe-to-toe racing for you as the season goes on, Jeff. As you said, a bit of a lonely run tonight, but that limited the prospect of getting caught up in any garbage, and put the onus on you to just keep it on the black stuff and bring it home, which you did. The top 5 is the reward. Well done on that, and we look forward to catching up with you later in the week.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Thanks for everything tonight. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for putting on the stream. And thanks a lot, Whiskey Business Racing. Enjoy night.
Very nicely done. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it, mate. One of our valued committee members here on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Finally, if you're just watching the Winter Olympics, ladies and gentlemen, finally they've gone to something else apart from the figure skating. They're at the free sky ski or free ski style slope, or whatever it is called these days, slope style. So that'll be good fun away from the figure skating for the next short while. Who would have thought that having no drafting quality was not ideal? Yeah, that's a fair point, Dan Yeaman. Absolutely. Especially around here, slipstream is king. And last but not least, Kurt Nommensen's in the house. But before we go to Kurt, let's have a look at the results from the other splits, if we don't mind, Adam Lavis. We'll have a look at the race results from Pro-Am and Am, and then we'll go back and cover off championship points if they're ready, once we're done having a chat to Kurt here. Now, Kurt, just for context, where are we going to find you, please? Am or Pro-Am? Sorry for not remembering from last week.
It'll be in Pro-Am.
Pro-Am, righto.
A little bit of a scroll down here.
Excellent. So we're having a look at the Pro-Am results now. Reece Keane, Luke Page, then Broden Friend, Jason Wilkinson, Matt Avenel, and Dave Oliver, Jermaine Takaloo, Stephen Gallacher, Janice Ragwani, and Derek Fitzgerald. Right top 10. Good to see a fruitful sort of field here. There's Kurt in 15th, and if we keep going at them, we'll find out exactly how many were in the field tonight. Well, hey, have a look at that. 39, but 4 retirements on the opening lap. 5, actually. 2 laps later, and then a few disconnects after that.
There was 35 qualified. Johnny Sims qualified, but then didn't start. And Newburn had a problem on the opening lap. But these three weren't in the server. They were just either not there. So it was 36 total entries.
Indeed, it is. So not a bad turnout, especially when you look at only 21 in the pro split. Kurt, we got some news through from Adam partway through the race to basically alert us to the fact that whilst we'd had a relatively clean run in terms of incidents in the pro split, the same couldn't be said for the other two. So talk us through the madness, the carnage, the chaos and the action of 60 minutes around Monza, and whether 15th is a pass mark for you, please.
It's definitely a pass mark. I started about 28th, so up 13 places at the end. I know I could have had top 10 because I was racing with Eduardo and all them, but I had a little mistake in the second stint, just trying not to run into Eduardo's door as we come back onto the oval. I got a bit of a bobble and ended up with right hand down on the steering, so lost about 5 laps of pace. I was just off pace, so it put me back, and yeah, couldn't continue the fight in the top 10, but not too bad for 15th after all that. It was quite the messy first 6 laps, I'll say that much.
It sounds like it. From your standpoint, the challenges of a circuit of this stature, of this size, of this length, what were they? I mean, obviously, breaking the draft in tow was one of the challenges the top boys faced in the pro split, but also just the little idiosyncrasies of the oval. There were trip-up points all around that circuit just to survive and get through and see the checkered flag was an achievement itself.
Yeah. We did have a fair bit of 2x2 through the oval in Pro-Am, but there was still a lot of space in that because there was a lot of bumps, and a lot of them did duck down behind the yellow, like below the yellow line, just so that we didn't, run into each other on the oval, because you moved a hell of a lot on that oval, and it was, if you tried to go too wide within the yellow line, someone was probably ended up bouncing off the wall and killing half the pack.
Indeed. I mean, from your standpoint, you were talking in the chat thread there with the boys, particularly after Ryan Jones commented with regards to fuel. Dan was talking about the BMW, you were talking about the Aston. Were you a little bit surprised at the varying fuel figures that you guys were drawing up tonight?
No, because the Porsche generally is pretty good on fuel, so that sort of didn't surprise me too much. And I knew the Aston, being a big V8, was going to be pretty thirsty on fuel, so I had to take about 40 litres in both stops just to make it the end. It was well over 80 litres of fuel, and we still did 22 laps, and I think I ended with about 0.4 of a lap left of fuel in the tank, so not a whole lot extra.
Now, at what point did you guys, I mean, obviously the pro split going a little bit faster than you guys, so my immediate guess is that you guys would have been getting a reading of about 22 laps from the outset?
Based on what I was seeing, my little overlay tells me a rough prediction. It was saying 23 from the start, but I had a feeling it'd be 22 after 2 pit stops. With 1 pit stop, we probably would have got 23, but yeah, definitely 22 with 2 pit stops.
Indeed. I want to come back to the racing aspect of this in just a moment, mate, and GT3 more specifically, and obviously talk about the rest of your plans for this week. But it would be remiss of me not to touch on some news that passed my desk over the course of the weekend, and it's got to do with one of your late family relatives. Terrific to see, even though it was posthumously Barry Fisher inducted at the Karting Australia corporate yearly gathering over the course of the weekend, mate. Granted a life membership with Karting Australia. He was the recipient this year. Terrific recognition for everything he brought to karting, and even though it is with a tinge of sadness because he's no longer with us, of course, a proud moment for the family.
Yeah, it's really nice to see, even, if he is gone, that he's still getting that recognition, being one of the founding members from Lismore, so it's nice to see that.
and that was actually specifically mentioned in the thread there for growing and strengthening regional karting. And of course, you might think, oh, Lismore's, a stone's throw away from the coast, and it's a stone's throw away from the Goldie and all that sort of stuff, but it is in New South Wales. It is considered regional. It's a lovely little part of the world, and as we've just said, he was part of the furniture there for the longest time. And the Normanton name and Fisher name still obviously aligned and tied in with everything that they do as far as karting in Lismore is concerned, which is very good to see. So well done on that. Obviously, those recognitions come along. Unfortunately, in some instances, they are posthumously, and they are after the fact, and we don't actually get to celebrate with the recipient. But it's great that we have that tradition, I guess, in Australian culture, not just sport, of recognising people, even though they are no longer here. Of course, you talk about it at the AFL Hall of Fame every year, Cricket's Hall of Fame at the Allan Border Medal Night. It's not uncommon. It's one of the great things that we do, one of the respectful things that we do in our sport. And you were the first person I thought of when I saw that news the other day, Kurt, and some would say long overdue, but we got there in the end, which is good to see. Let's straighten up and talk your racing plans for the rest of the week. What does the schedule look like, please?
It's pretty busy. Obviously, trying to get back into more seat time with supercars. So I'll be doing, SRW tomorrow, and then Wednesday night here, and then we'll see how we go with Thursday night, and I might show up for the fourth club again.
And of course, there was just going back to that Karting Australia thing, also recognised with a Hall of Fame induction, some bloke by the name of Winterbottom. And I've told this story before, but I'm very proud of it. I got to actually shake his hand on the grid, and my first introduction to him was about 5 minutes before he jumped in the cart and went out and won the Clubman Light Final at the 2001 Nationals in Newcastle. So he's gone a long way and done a lot since then, but good to see again, recognised by the roots of where it all started. Next week, the Adelaide Street, you mentioned the importance of supercars, mate. Obviously, the stop for the championship this week for us is the Bend. We're looking forward to that, 40 minutes on Wednesday night. I would love to actually see it on the West course rather than the international layout, because I think it'd be a bit more stimulating. But looking forward to that. And as far as GT3 is concerned, the Adelaide Street Circuit awaits next week. So we're getting well acquainted with South Australia over the next 7 days, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not going to be too bad. I'm looking forward to Adelaide, and hopefully I just don't pull another GTE and put it in the fence on lap 2. No. So we'll hope for the best on that one.
Right, we will indeed. And the good thing as well, Pro-Am, your sprint race, your first race of the 2 next Monday night, will be the live broadcast race. So we're looking forward to that. Any last comments with regards to Monza, mate? I mean, obviously a box ticked, and we're all happy to see the back of it. I think a lot more frantic than we probably anticipated or gave it credit for, but the oval really added something in the way of spice and intensity, as the comparisons have already been made to like a big oval race, and for the pack to stay as bunched up as it did around the Grand Prix layout as well, it whet the appetite for what was a stimulating affair. But in saying that, box ticked, pressure off, and now we can go and push forward with the final 6 rounds of the season on more familiar circuits and layouts. But your final thoughts on Monza and how things are shaping up for you in GT3 at this point?
Yeah, well, personally, I think we can throw more tracks like this in. I had a really good pace here, so more of that. But no, it's going to be a half-decent season. Obviously, missing the first 2 rounds doesn't help, but we'll just have to see how we go through the rest of the season and try and claw back some points.
Very nicely done. Good to catch up, mate. Appreciate that. Go and get some rest. Enjoy the rest of the week. Good luck with the supercars. And GTE from Spa this week as well.
No worries. Thanks, Zach.
And Kurt Normanson to the results from the AM split for you, ladies and gentlemen, care of Adam Lavis. 20 to 11 Eastern Daylight Time, 20 to 1 in New Zealand. which makes it 20-8 for our friends in WA. Have a look at, we were just mentioning karting. There's royalty from the very upper echelons of Australian karting on top of the list there, ladies and gentlemen. William Yarwood nabs a win in GT3 AM and does so ahead of Sam Woodhouse and Nathan Harvey, Tim Watson, Robert Gay, Tristan Koch, JD Dent, Martin Pedersen, then Mitchell Buckman and Braden O'Loughlin. The top 10 there. Not bad at all. William Yarwood, as I say, the very, upper tier of legend status in Australian karting, and now making his mark on the sim world as well. Well done. Beautiful. Rightio. We will have something in the way of championship points to show you here in just a tick. And where do you want to start with this, please, Adam Lavis? What have we got available to us? We've got Pro. There we go. Have a look at that. Eli Donaldson looking the goods at the moment. Sitting there on top of the pops, top of the crop. 200 plays, 159 for Alex Barrelon. So consistency, even though tonight didn't end so well for Alex, the fact that he is consistent has netted him second in the points for the moment. Jeff Adams, Aaron Schotter, Nick Wood. Then Josh Fitt wasn't on the grid tonight. Alan Holgerson, Ryan Jones and Rodney Gollan, the top 9. Lewis Greathead equal 9th at the moment, despite also not being on the grid. So that's your top 10 at the moment, and 102 points covers them. And again, very Porsche heavy. 7 Porsches in the top 10, along with 2 Mustangs and a BMW. Anything else for me, mate? There we go. Have a look at this. Waste Options GT3 Pro-Am. Adam Lavis has been very busy crunching the numbers tonight, ladies and gentlemen. 207 for Luke Page. Again, on the back of back-to-back round wins, much like Eli Donaldson. Yep, mate. Go for it, Adam.
Sorry, so Luke actually finished second on track. Reese finished first, but the penalty dropped him back. So, so Luke inherited the win there.
So, not the way you like to see it play out, but we know it's part of what we do. And I'm sure Luke Page won't be complaining in the slightest. He'll take them any way he can get them if it means putting himself in the position to wrap up the title. He's got a pretty healthy advantage up his sleeve at the moment. 48 points, in fact, over John Wright, Reece Keenan, Jason Wilkinson, the next 2, then Paul Wood, only 1 point back. Then Dave Oliver, but again, that common theme of Porsche saturation right through the top 20. 5 different other manufacturers in there, but only single representation. So you really only have 75 to 25% as far as the top 20 is concerned. Porsche's absolutely dominating at this point in time. You only really have 25% from anything else taking the fight to the Porsches at the moment, and not really doing a solid job of it. I mean, 54 points is a big advantage this early in the season for the next thing that isn't a Porsche in the queue there. That's Reece Keenan third. And, I mean, the top 10 covered by 114 points. So that's a bigger top 10 gap than first to 10th in GT3 Pro. Good to see an Aston up there. Good to see a Ferrari up there. But, yeah, it's all one-way traffic at the moment for Porsche. And we expected nothing less. Hopefully something a little bit different to tell you as far as the GT3 AM is concerned. Yes, it is. Nathan Harvey still on top in a Porsche, so that's the continuity there. That's the common link. But Dale Atkins in an Acura. We've hardly seen a bloody Acura this year, have we? But there's one, and there's a Lambo for Braden O'Loughlin. Sam Woodhouse also in a Porsche, then Tristan Koch in an Audi, then the Porsche of Martin Davis, then the McLaren of Tim Watson, the Mercedes of Jesse McManaman, the Porsche of Robert Gay, and then Martin Pedersen in the Mustang. So in all of that, Porsche, Acura, Lambo, Audi, McLaren, Mercedes, Ford, 7 different manufacturers in the top 10. That's much better. And also only 88 points covering first and 10th as well. Round winner tonight, William Yarwood, finally getting a result under his belt. And getting the right result and getting the win and putting himself 18 points or 18 positions further up the order than what he was this time last week. Hopefully takes some momentum from that and can build on it and actually make a positive charge as the next 6 weeks play out. Brilliant stuff. So we are done here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, but not before we tell you that we can't do this without the great support of Waste Options and Disruptive Labs and Trophy AI, merch.GSRC.inc and Flash Graphics. A big thanks to all of them for their ongoing support of everything we do here across Facebook and YouTube. And this is the lay of the land of what's to come for the next 7 days. And we will have a broadcast Thursday night. It won't be live, but we will have one for you. Firstly, let's cover off a couple of other bits of homework and housekeeping for you. The Adelaide Street Circuit plays host to Downforce Legends this week. And Donington Park plays host to GSRC Retro Formula 1. They're both tomorrow night. Sprint racing for the Downforce Legends, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Then from 9:15, a 40-minute race for the Formula 1s around in the Lotus 79s around Donington Park, 9:15 Eastern Daylight Time. The GSRC Odds Legends Cup Wednesday night from the Bend on the Sprint Circuit. That's 2 sprint races. That's 7:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm with Dan Yeaman for that one. Then we go to the Bend for the supercars as well, but we switch it to the international layout, so 4.95 kilometres there, and that's 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Elite and Development are still one split at the one server at the moment, aren't they, Adam? In there?
Yeah.
Cool. And no sign of changing at this point in time, unlike the Porsches, where we've now got three different championships to contend with, such is the interest in Porsche racing at the moment. But before we get to the Porsches, it's Disruptive Labs GT4 from Monza. And so we're back here again Thursday night. At this stage, the plan is to bring you the broadcast from around 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time and just go through the night. 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time with GT4 and 40 minutes there. So on the back of 2 sprint rounds, we're back to single race mode for the GT4s. Then onto the Porsche Cup from the Daytona International Speedway Road Course. So we were in America last week for GT4. And we're in Italy for Porsches. It's a direct switcheroo, geographically speaking. And we're back to 40-minute racing for the Porsches as well. 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, but broadcast will be around about 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So hope you can join us for all of that. All the night owls and insomniacs amongst you, we look forward to it immensely. That was fascinating tonight. The GT3s, that action continues next Monday night. But before that, of course, on Friday night, we've got the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps playing host to the first to the 90-minute races. That's right, isn't it? In the Disruptive Labs GT Championship. So it's an enduro race, the enduro pits, double the race length of last week. 90 minutes the journey, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Joe Baldwin, Liam Banks with you from around 25 past 8 on the East Coast and 25 past 5 on the West. Mountain Men, that's the New Zealand way you say it. Mountain Men, the 32 laps around there on Saturday night. We will spin the wheel Friday night to determine what car of choice will be in play for Saturday night. 32 laps, 200 kilometres, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Then next Monday night, we detailed this earlier, full night of sprint racing, ladies and gentlemen. Looking forward to that. WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for the Super Formula Lights, round 5 of that championship. Waste Options, the sponsor, of course. At 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Maybe. Might be 7:35 yet. 2 sprint races there, and we're looking forward to that. And then, of course, onto the Adelaide Street Circuit for the second of the sprint rounds in that series as well in GT3. Pro-Am first up, Pro second up, results from Am after the fact. 2 sprint races, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time, and as you've already heard the boys allude to, the potential threat of weather as well. Excellent. Looking forward to that. All right, that's just about it. We're done. We started a little bit early tonight, so I've got a sandwich here that's been sitting on the desk for 3 hours that I'm going to go and zap in the microwave and finally enjoy the second part of my dinner. The Winter Olympics continue right throughout the course of the evening into 10 a.m. tomorrow morning Eastern Daylight Time across 9 Gem, 9 Now and Stan Sport. The T20 World Cup continues on Amazon Prime as well. I completely forgot about that. So let's just go around the grounds and update you on that before we say goodbye. Remembering, of course, that South Africa are up against Canada at 12:30 a.m. Scotland got the better of Italy earlier in the day, 4 for 207 played, Italy all out 134. And Oman at the moment up against Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe in the box seat, having bowled Oman out for 103. They're chasing 104. They are 2 for 43 after 6 overs, so they're well and truly on their way. I hope you enjoyed that. The one that might have been for Ryan Jones. Dan Yeaman said thanks very much. Marcus Watson's winning streak brought undone, and of course his podium streak brought undone as well, but he's still the points leader in Super Formula Light. Eli Donaldson's dominating proceedings here in Waste Options GT3 Pro. He won an instant classic at the Monza combined circuit. A lot of there was not a lot of love for the circuit initially, but those of you that turned up, I reckon you've enjoyed what you've seen. Those of you that have stuck with us for the ride and spectated along the way, tuned in for the last 3 hours, I think you've enjoyed what we've served up this Monday evening as well. From a commentary standpoint, the weather really shook things up at Donington, and it was much more lively than we probably expected it to be at the Monza combined course. And as a result of that, we're looking forward to more of the same. But again, the pro server probably spoke with their feet tonight. They weren't here in the quantity that they normally would be, so it'll be interesting to see when or if this track gets a return Guernsey. On behalf of Adam Lavis, all the broadcast commentary and production crew here, I'm Zach Caden. Well done to Eli Donaldson and Marcus Watson. Well done to you at home. Thanks for your company. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. I look forward to your company on Wednesday night with Dan Yeaman. And until then, don't forget the ASRG V8 Pro qualifying series wraps up tomorrow night as well. So you've got sim racing to look forward to all 5 nights this week. Follow them with thanks to us here on the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. And tomorrow night, courtesy of our friends over at the ASRG. On behalf of the crew, enjoy what's left of your Monday evening, everybody. And we look forward to your company Wednesday. Bye for now.